What's happening, y'all? This is Todd Wilson with another episode of Elevate Your Game. Today we have husband, father, founder and director of Determined Athletics, the director of the Chris Paul Middle School Combine, and entrepreneur, motivational speaker, coach, trainer, developer, everything you need in basketball, Mr. DaShaun Thomas DT.
What's up, brother?
What's up? Welcome to the show, man.
Appreciate you. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you coming all the way down, man.
Sure.
And blessing the studio. You said you appreciated all the hoop movies. We like to start there. Wall of hoop movies. Favorite movie of all time and why?
Well, first I'm gonna steal this. I'm gonna steal this whole concept.
Hey, I'm still in that hoodie game. Yo, check out the hoodie. It's fire.
If I gotta pick one, that's tough. But I'm a Chicago guy at heart. So I'm gonna have to go with the Hoop Dreams movie. Yeah. I kind of said it already. I'm from Chicago, so a lot of the storytelling, a lot of the streets that they were talking about, and some of the activities is like I actually experienced that. Yeah. You know what I mean? So shout out to Arthur Agee. I mean, he's giving back to a lot of the kids now and telling his story. So I will have to go Hoop Dreams, man, because I got so much knowledge about the movie, the people that were in it, the people that helped make the movie. There's a lot of roots. And I think the story is something that all kids can relate to, just dealing with adversity and what really comes with being successful on a basketball court. It throws a lot of different curveballs that you got to deal with and perform. And obviously we saw, if you watch the movie, at one point it got to Arthur, but then he persevered and became who he is today. So that would be my answer.
No, absolutely, man. That was real. It was unrealistic to me coming from LA. I lived in the suburb. I'm from Corona. Like I said, like seeing stuff, I'm like, is this real? Like it was almost like an imagine. Like no, this is a documentary. This is actually happening.
I mean, like in Chicago, like during our high school games, you got to go through metal detectors. You know what I'm saying? It's different. You actually got like your biggest fans are street guys, man, and so you got to navigate through all of that and then go home and be a regular kid. That's just tough. Yeah. And so it was authentic, man. And I'm an authentic guy, so I will go with Hoop Dreams for sure.
What's the close number two? Because I know there's another one up there that was like,
man. Oh man, it's tough. But I might go Coach Carter.
Yeah.
And my reason for that is I think that's what the game is missing. You know what I mean? So when we look at now, like kids want instant gratification, parents don't want to be held accountable, players definitely don't want to be held accountable. And when we look at it, like nowadays the player actually got control. Yes. And I think that's the hardest balance of like in our shoes of dealing with that on a daily. And we're trying to provide discipline and looking at the long game, and some parents may not agree with that. Some kids don't agree with it, but then 5 years later, they're like, Coach, I see what you meant. You know what I mean? So I think Coach Carter for me had like, it's a more personable meaning because I'm kind of that new school coach, but I got a lot of his ways when it comes to discipline and teaching. So, and principles, man, he stood on a lot of principles.
Yes.
So
100%. I just got a text from Brian Bartley, one of the coaching OG. And he's like, that's the first thing you need to do is have your principles as a coach where you will not move. That's the first thing you do.
We call them non-negotiables. We won't, you know what I mean? And move. I mean, again, throughout that movie, there were a lot of times where it's like, oh, he should crack on that moment because that was his best player. And he's like, nah, you're not playing. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think that was around the time when they made that movie is when the game started changing too, like if you really pay attention. So that would be my two.
Oh, dope, man, dope. So when did you fall in love with basketball?
When I fell in love with basketball, so it's weird, man. My mind go different. Like when I thought I fell in love or when I actually fell in love with it.
Let's talk about both.
When I thought I fell in love with it, it was because I was a 9-year-old kid, and I had two cousins that were twins, and they're a year older than I am, and I literally just told them during this past Christmas, they actually are the reason I play basketball. You know, you always got people you look up to, and they were that. Like they were the one the girls like. They dressed a certain way, they walked a certain way, and everything they did, I kind of like mirrored them. And I mean, I remember a time my uncle was taking them to a gym and I didn't know where they were going. I just asked, can I come? I just wanted to be with my cousins. And they went to a gym. And my first time shooting a basketball, like, I was like, that's it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was naturally good. And so I was able to do some of the stuff that they were doing. And I think I fell in love with it at that moment. Because that was like the first time in my life where I was getting praised for doing something. And I think probably the next day, man, I think I was in Chicago. We got these alleys. We just make basketball rims out of milk crates. And I was carving it with a knife at like 9 to catch my cousins. And that's when I knew I thought I loved it. When I really found out I loved the game is, I'm going to say when my mom died and I really wanted to quit everything. And I stepped away from everything for like 3 weeks, man, and I felt miserable. And when I went back to the game, I felt whole again. And that's when I knew, like, this is what I want to do the rest of my life, because it was like therapy.
Yeah. No, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, no
And,
doubt.
How long was that after that 9-year-old?
So my mom died when I was 15.
Oh,
Yep, the summer of my freshman year.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. And so let's talk about between those 2 points, right? From age 9 to I thought I loved the game. Like, I imaginary hoop everywhere, but actually like to cut out a milk carton to have a hoop to play on, that's real love. Yeah. From that moment to when you're 15, what does development look like in Chicago? What did your development look like, growing up where you did?
Not how it is now. We played. We just playgrounds. There was no age barrier. There was no skill barriers. Like, if I went to the park and there were grown men playing, I had to wait my turn. You know what I mean? I might not have got the ball, but I knew if it was a long rebound, they weren't going to hustle for it. I'm going to go hustle for it. So my regimen, honestly, man, it was a lot of – here's the kicker in Chicago, though. There's a lot of opportunity to play organized. Like, I started playing organized basketball maybe 6 months after I was introduced to it, like on a team. But it wasn't like AAU. It was my school. So my school had like a 3rd grade team, and I was in the 2nd grade, but I was good enough.
They let you play.
So my development came from playing in those games. I made mistakes, but I was the type of person, like, if you took the ball from me, I went home to figure out what I did wrong and how I didn't have a trainer at that time.
Right.
I would just watch what my cousins were doing. And for me, once I got to like 4th or 5th grade is when I first started training. So a lot of people, Sonny Parker was like one of the, let me scratch that. Mr. Lawrence was the first coach to teach me how to play basketball. That was my 3rd grade basketball coach. And so all the fundamental stuff, defensive sliding, and how to make a proper bounce pass, he showed me that. And then I got so good because I was just good naturally, but now it's fundamentally sound. And then I was introduced to some of the Chicago greats, man. Sonny Parker, Don Starks, Miss Foster. Like, all of these people kind of played their part and molded me to be who I am. But as far as training, I don't think I really started training probably like 6th or 7th grade. Like, to where I was like, yo, I have a trainer. But they weren't trainers back then.
Right. They were coaches.
They were coaches that showed you certain things. But I was around a lot of great players. Will Bynum, Sean Dockery. And I was around all those dudes.
So these people you grew up with.
So these are people I grew up with, and like to this day they call me little bro, and I call them big bro. Yeah. And going to their high school games, I'm in the locker room. So that was all my development, because I learned from listening, not so much of doing. That was the difference in my development. But again, like once I got to 7th and 8th grade, and I'm labeled one of these best players in the country, and I'm going to this camp, that camp. I mean, obviously, you start being in the gym more, but for me, I think it was just we played so much, and it was lack of instruction. We just figured it out on our own.
Man, I believe in this life, man. Sometimes basketball chooses us.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like it chose you. You said you had you picked up a ball and kind of just knew what it was. No prior sports, like you were just like.
Nah. Now, from what my grandmother told me, is that at the age of 2, I used to sleep with a ball. But I don't think I knew what it was.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and then growing up, the Bulls were at a all-time high. Like, I didn't know the game. Yeah. And I'm saying that I love the game, bro. So even though I was good, even at 8th grade and 9th grade, I really didn't understand the game. I understood I was good.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, study the game. I didn't know what I was doing at 9. I was naturally gifted, and I was like, dang, like, I'm getting praises for how fast I am and how I can handle the ball. And I fell in love with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I said, when I really found out I fell in love with it is when I didn't want to stop doing it after I lost like a precious jewel of mine.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, when playing the game and the passion, the emotion that you feel while you're doing it, and the ease in which it came, what's going on in the world around you, right? So, you know, we watch Hoop Dreams, we hear stories about Chicago. Did this save you from things that, you know, where your life could be going in a different direction?
Well, I'm going to correct you first, because when you say East, you talking about D.C., New York, Midwest.
Yeah.
Chicago. So we the Midwest.
My bad,
yeah,
Midwest.
Yeah, I'm going to correct that.
No, I said ease.
Oh, East.
The ease you played the game.
Oh, okay, I thought you said
would
the
never
East.
disrespect Chicago.
Okay.
Listen, man, Common one of my favorite rappers. I wouldn't do that, but no.
I got you. No, I say that all the time, bro. I mean, and I probably got to do a better job at telling my story, but like I really came, like when people say they came from the bottom, I really came from that. So I had an uncle that was a big time gang member, drug dealer. I got a brother that was really in the field, like, you know, a real member. And he's in jail right now for 90 years, 75. You know what I mean? I got another brother that's doing a bid too. Like, I seen a lot. I seen people get killed. I seen a lot. And because I kept that orange ball with me, it was certain places that I would be, and it was like, yo, you got to get from over here. Or because of who my family was, it's like, nah. It's too late. You need to head back home. So I think everybody in my neighborhood kind of knew I was stamped, whether it was NBA or not. But if you ask me, I was going to the league.
Right,
you know what I mean? But that basketball, bro, like, I'm going to be honest, you could threaten me with whatever you want, it wouldn't faze me. But the minute you say you can't go to your game or you can't go to practice, that's like the worst thing you could do. So my motivation with everything was, I had friends that were going to rob and going to steal cars, and I would go with them. And the minute they like actually about to do it, I'm like, if I get caught, I won't play tomorrow. I'm out. It had nothing to do with my parents, my teachers, and my dad used to be in the streets and he turned into a pastor. I wasn't scared of that either. I was more so worried about that little orange ball, man. And again, that's when I realized, like, yo, this have a power over me. I actually love this.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. So my pops is a pastor too.
Yeah.
So, or he ministered. But that whole line of things, do you think that played a part in, you know, like you said, you have brothers and family members who are affiliated and doing things that, you know, end up in prison. But for you, do you think that had, you know, built a foundation in you to kind of steer you the other way? You know, those types of things. Because it sounds like you were protected from a life that was like you had access to, but there was a protection around you. Do you think that came from, hey, that's the pastor's kid, or the streets, or?
Nah, again, my answers are different from anybody else. No, because the way nobody knows. If you don't know, you don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I got people around me every day that don't know that my dad he actually is heavily, like, he's very spiritual. What I will say is the foundation that he laid was like me having the faith and me understanding, like, you have a choice, you have a calling. Like, I would say that, but I'm a person, man. I just think no matter what your situation is, you got a choice. And I think with me, you know this best, we've had times where we didn't listen or we listened. There's a consequence or a reward for either one. So even when the gangbanger was like, hey, get from over here, we about to go do that, I had a choice to make.
Yeah.
Do I, no, what you about to do? Or do I go, you're right, I'm out. I just think it's a choice. So whether you're a pastor kid or your dad's not around, whatever, man, because at the end, I got 20 brothers and sisters. And we all have failed and succeeded in our own ways. And we all went hungry at the same time, but at some point, they made bad choices. At one point, I made a bad choice, but it's about like how you respond to that.
Yeah.
So I just think at the end of the day, no matter the situation, it's just a choice you make, and then it's about just can you stay the course? Because at the end of the day, it's easy to say it, but it's easy for us to backtrack too and say, nah, this is not gonna work. You know what I mean? Well, even with what you're doing, like if you at one point you fail, and then you say, you know what, let me put this back together, let me regroup. But had you not done that, you wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So I just believe it's a choice, bro. It's just at the end of the day, I think I always made the choice where I knew I wanted to get out.
Yeah.
And that was my motivation.
No, love that, man.
Yeah.
I think people need to hear that because some people feel their environment, right, keeps them from making the right choices. But to empower somebody to know that it's their choice and they got to make that right decision, and they've seen somebody who maybe had it worse than them or the same as them, made those decisions.
For sure.
So that's what they got to see in themselves.
For sure.
So middle school basketball, you know, it's the level of competition steps up. This is when you start getting, you know, highly touted and people know about you. What was that? Just tell me about that world.
It was fake to me because, yeah, I mean, I was really good, right? And I was getting all of these praises and come go here. Like I played there in Chicago. It's a league called Small Fry. And so this was the first time that I've ever played in a situation where it was outside of my area and outside of the state. So we played teams from Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, New York, New Jersey. Like it's a big time thing where you can't be a certain height. So it's real competitive. It's literally all guards playing against each other on a smaller rim. And the reason I say it was fake, man, because like, when I go play, I forgot about everything I was going through. Right? So I would I would be with my coaches because I played for some great people, man, some great black men. Like, they weren't just coaches to me. I mean, when you think of Sonny Parker, he played with the Golden State Warriors in the 70s. That's Jabari Parker's dad. So Jabari is like a little brother to me. So that was like a foundation there where, you know what I mean? And I had another coach, Don Starks. He worked with Magic Johnson. He had 11 movie theaters. So I'm around these people that they're me, but they're not me, right? So I would go to their house and go to these games, and I'm a different person. But when I come back to my neighborhood, I was a different person. So I was getting all those praises, but I was struggling at home. Because when I get out of the car, it's like if I don't have food with them, what I'm eating tonight, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just was in the gym taking pictures with kids, like, or being around the rich kids. And I would get home and it's like, I'm back to reality. And that was like and I say fake because it's like, I put on that persona when I was, the only thing you could tell is he was hungry, like the way I played. But like, you wouldn't know that I was going through what I was going through.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
The I guess the resilience and mental toughness that must take. What were, you know, it sounds like you had some good mentors in your life, right?
Yeah.
And people who were supporting you in a way, but not all the way, right? Because maybe they didn't even know, right? What were the other elements that kept you above water, like mentally from an emotional or mental standpoint?
I mean, I can remember just being in those moments where, because people would say like I come from nothing, but we weren't poor when it came to money. We were poor because of our environment, right? But I grew up on a lot of love, bro. I had a lot of love and I had a lot of support around me, even if they didn't know how to do it. I think the other things were really, man, I would be this young kid. I was a visionary young. And I'm the type of kid where like I never place things on my wall, but I imagine them. So like, I mean, 10, 11, 12, I knew I would be rich. But again, I thought I was gonna be the next AI. You know what I'm saying? But I knew that I was different from everybody that I was around. So like my best friends, though we all got a lot in common, but I was just different from everybody. I moved different. I spoke different. Even being in my environment, I was like 13, like I'm gonna get tatted, but I won't get nothing past my forearm. That's how I articulated things as a kid. So I think it was just how I interpreted things, to be honest. And me being exposed to people that were wealthy and that had success stories, I would literally just study everything about them. So you don't have to talk to me. Even to this day, you could be sitting outside of the studio and I'm gonna watch you, and if it's something that I see that I lack or whatever, I'm gonna watch that and I'm gonna add that to my toolage. You know what I mean? And I think that's what separated me, man. Like, cause I did a lot of dumb things as a kid too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I would go back to my room and I do this to this day. Like I cut every light off. I'm not watching TV. I'm just staring at the ceiling, just replaying my day or replaying whatever happened. And it's like, D, don't ever do that again. You got away with it. But like really, if you get caught, it's over. And your imagination, you would never see that. And so like, I think it was just really just what was inside of me, to be honest.
No, that's actually how they're teaching kids how to learn. There's a couple things. So block learning, right? They tell us not to stand in one place and shoot the shot ball over and over. It actually cuts our brain off when we stop learning. It's better to move. And then when we reflect at the end of the day. So I do this with my daughter now. I say, hey, what happened at school today? And so I have different questions. She's only 4. But I have different questions that trigger her. Hey, what happened at school? Okay, is there anything you need to tell Daddy? That means that something bad happened. And she needs to tell me about it. And so she always every day is something. I'm like, oh, cool. So what kind of decision should we make next time? Because I want her to reflect on it. And so she remembers that, ooh, we shouldn't do this. Because if we just go through our day and go through the motion and never have that time to reflect, we're not going to improve. 100%. So you were constantly getting better and better and better and smarter every time you sit down.
Even when I did things that was just completely dumb.
You know what I mean? Because failures lead to success. Failure's only real if you don't learn from it and grow.
100%.
And so, no, that's dope. So on the hoop side, middle school, what do you did you guys play on the circuit or anything? Like it was just community stuff? So when did basketball kind of like flip a switch for you and like, oh man, this is bigger than the city of Chicago or the area?
I would say like 5th grade. I would say like 5th grade because at that point I went from like, oh, I'm really fast, I could dribble, to like, no, like you're actually one of the best guards in the city, in the state. I was small, but I was really fast, crazy handle. I was really good, man. And I would go, my schedule would be like Monday through Friday, we had school practice. We got out of school at 1:30. So I would practice from like 1:30 to 3:30. And then from 3:30, let's say 4 o'clock to like 6 o'clock, I went and practiced with Sonny. You know what I mean? And we did our team practices. And then Sonny would drop me off and I'm back at home by 6. I'm going to small frat practice from 6 to 9. And this was my schedule every day. I never had breaks. And if I didn't have those practices, I'm at a park or I'm in like I said, in Chicago, we got these alleys where we would just literally create our own basket, put it in the alley. Cars coming, you just got to move out the way. You know what I mean? But I think at like 5th grade is when I was like, wow, basketball is like, it's actually global. It's not a neighborhood thing. And so I started meeting different kids from different places and speaking other languages. And that's when I think I started pursuing, like, I want to play in the NBA. Because I thought I was good enough.
Did somebody give you the blueprint then? When you decided you wanted the NBA, what was the blueprint for you then? And did you follow it?
That's a twofold question. That's a twofold answer. So, yes, the blueprint was you just got to be different. You got to play harder than everybody, no matter what. And it's like the neighborhood way. It's like, you never let nobody outwork you, and it's a competition. So you always compete. And if that turns into something else, win that battle too. And that's how I approached it, right? That's the neighborhood way. And it's probably the first time I'm saying this on camera, but there's another guy, Jamal Bruley, who he was like my trainer. He was a guy that made me just think different. So like even to this day, he's like, you still learn how to play chess yet? I don't know how to play chess, but we play chess every day. But he was the guy that made me read. You know what I mean? Like he was a different type of guy. Like he connected with me differently. So he's part of a lot of, he deserves a lot of credit for kind of developing me as a player and a person. So there was a time, bro, where I think I was like 13 and I'm like, I'm going to the league. I was smelling myself. And he's like, let me stop you for a second. And this changed my life. He was like, who's your favorite player in the NBA? I'm like, Allen Iverson. He's like, what do you know about Allen Iverson? I'm like, he got braids. He changed the dress code. Like I know the stuff that is like, that ain't got nothing to do with the actual game.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I encourage you to read about him. Because you will realize that Allen Iverson faced some stuff in his past and it almost damaged his career, blah, blah, blah. So I had to find that out. So I came back like, oh yeah, he got arrested, he played football. So now I studied Allen Iverson. And he come back like a week later and he goes, you ever thought about if the NBA pays Allen Iverson $30, $40 million, how much the person that owned the team that Allen Iverson played for, you ever thought about being that guy? And I'm like, nah. But I was kind of mad that he said that because I took it as I'm not good enough to play in the NBA. But then I went home and I was like, why did he tell me that? And that's when it started turning like, oh, it's a business. That is true. If somebody's paying him $50 million, he's making them $300 million.
Got to.
That's when it started. I got infatuated. I would start reading about it. I would start paying attention to. Now I wasn't going to games looking at players. I was looking at who's coming out of the tunnel with the suit on and who is that. It changed my whole way of how I looked at the game.
Shouts out to him.
This is the first time I probably said that on camera. So if he hear this, he gonna be like, wow, like yeah, he changed my whole perspective of the game.
No, I think that's what the kids need to hear and see. Like, right, is that information of seeing the big picture, that this is an enterprise. Yes, basketball is a fun game. And guess what? I could play in adult leagues and still hoop and enjoy the feeling and flow that the hoop gives me. But when you're looking at, I would say 90% of kids who play AAU basketball want to go to the NBA. What does that mean? How are you going to represent this $1 billion team?
Right.
And what do you need to do today to get you there?
Right.
So opening your mind to that.
Yeah.
Expanded more than just your game. Like it gave you the game. Right?
And I think like now the message is like, do you know that 0.1% makes it? I think that was his way of saying, D, like, it's going to be hard to make it. So just keep this in mind, because he was that kind of guy. Like, I'm not telling you won't make it because you're really good, but just keep this in your back pocket. Like, and it changed. It actually made me love the game more because I felt if I don't make it here, I can make it up to that side too. So it just, that right there, it clicks for me.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's super dope. So transitioning into high school. So what high school did you go to?
Farragut. I went to Farragut High School, which is
where
Kevin Garnett, Ronnie Fields, Michael Wright. It's a long list of athletes, and we all were coached by the same guy, Wolf Nelson.
Got it. Okay, so going into high school, what was your expectation going into high school?
Man, I thought I was going to do everything I did from 5th grade to 8th. I went into high school when I was like 4'11".
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying.
I was like 5'1".
Yeah, I was like 4'11", soaking and probably like 100 pounds soaking wet. So I actually thought that I was going to go to high school and do exactly what I've been doing. Rude awakening.
I said, how did that happen?
How did it happen?
I said, did that happen?
Oh yeah, I got a rude awakening. I mean, we had 3 centers that was 6'10". You know what I mean? Like, I'm not getting to the basket doing a reverse layup with the left. That's going down court. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I had to adjust because I was so small.
Yeah. So freshman year, did you play JV, varsity? What happened? Talk to me.
So the crazy thing is, so I went to Farragut to play varsity, but we were really, really good. Mm-hmm. So I don't even know who, I've never heard of, because we call it Frost Off in Chicago. I I don't even know what that is. I don't know if I never knew freshman team exists. I don't know any of this. I'm blinded to that. And obviously the first week or two that I enrolled in school, I was practicing with the varsity. And it was tough. So I was in a bad situation. Like I was good enough, but I was just too small.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then when I went to JV is what we call it out here, I don't think I took it serious. Because I felt like I was wired different. So I felt like I was demoted. And I probably played 6 games and I never played JV again.
What happened?
I played varsity.
Oh, you got pulled up.
Yeah.
So you killed it.
I didn't even play. It was on my own goal that I had. I just wanted to play varsity. And I knew I wasn't gonna play, so I wasn't. So when you listen to that, I sound like the kids today.
Yeah, no, because I'm gonna ask you like, so what would you tell a kid today who's in that kind of situation where they're good enough to be on varsity?
You gotta go play.
Wherever you get.
You gotta go play because I can guarantee that kid don't think like me. See, I wanted to embrace not playing. Because I was the type, like if you let me get away with it, I would get away with it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if I take it personal, I'm coming back different. So I did that for me. I did it because all my life I was told you good, you doing this, you gonna do that. And I just wanted to get pushed. I wanted to get beat up. I wanted to bleed. I wanted my eye to get busted. I wanted to sit on the bench so I knew what kind of summer I needed to have.
Man.
Because that was the first time where I just wasn't good enough. That never happened to me. And I knew if I survived that, what my future was going to look like.
So you understood at that age just the patience that it takes and the sacrifice that it takes to be great.
Because it came back full circle for me, like when I got to college. So by me doing that, it came back. So if we stick in the high school, like if you ask my coach, I was the best teammate even then. I never left a game mad, wondering why I didn't play. My parents never talked to the coach, regardless.
Right.
Half the time they weren't at the game. You know what I'm saying? So everything I did, I figured it out on my own.
Wow. Kids listen to that because that's what it grew you up really fast.
Yeah.
That's the better route than going somewhere and playing or having your way. I say the earlier you go through some controversy, some adversity, the better, so you know how to survive this thing, because it's a long road and you come up against a lot of obstacles that are in the game, out the game, the coach, teammates, whatever it is, parents now. That's the biggest thing. I always ask this question. This is a little side note. When did parents start caring so much about what was happening in the basketball game? Because my thing is, it was the same thing. My parents came to games.
Right.
My mom worked the snack bar.
Right.
But never ever talked to the coach about anything. Dropped me off at practice, and this is what it is.
I love that question. It's when money became the front runner of the game. You know what I mean? Like when people used to ask, why you play basketball? I love it. And I remember my mom, may she rest in peace. I remember this like it was yesterday. Like we were in the crib and I came home from school. I took my uniform off. I put my basketball. I kept shorts on underneath no matter what. Kept shorts on, but I switched my shirt, boom, because I wouldn't wear a white tee to a basketball. Like I had to wear like a basketball shirt. So I switched my shirt and I got my shoes in my hand, about to run out the door. And she like, whoa, you didn't even eat. I was like, I'll eat when I get back. And she was like, so you rather eat before you play basketball? I was like, yeah. And I ran out the door, boom.
You play basketball before you eat. You switched it. You rather play basketball before
I eat.
Yes.
My bad.
No, you good.
And I said, yeah, I'd rather just go play basketball. I eat later. And she was like, oh, so you really rather play basketball before you put something in your system? You're going to fall out. And my answer was, well, at least I'll die doing something I love. You get what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
It was never about, I'm going to be honest, I didn't, until my cousin, well, he's married to my cousin, until Jamal told me like how much Allen Iverson made, I never knew that. I thought they were just on TV. I never knew they were making a lot of money. So if you ask a kid now, it's like, oh, I get to buy my mom a house. That was never my goal.
Right.
I was like, I love it. Like basketball is my therapy, bro. This is where like I feel like I'm free from the world.
Yeah.
And now if you ask kids that, it's college. It's other stuff. And I think when parents got so involved is when it benefited them.
Yeah.
It never been, my parents just get to say, my baby go to college. You know what I'm saying? That was all they wanted. Now this game, a mom or dad could get a lot of perks.
Yeah.
Early as the 6th, 7th, 8th grade.
Yeah.
And I think that's why parents are now putting all their eggs in one basket.
No, that's interesting. In that moment, it felt like it came. What year did you graduate high school?
2007.
Oh, 7. Okay, I graduated 04. So
Yep.
around that same time, it was like 2010ish. It just.
I
felt
always
like
say 2011.
Okay,
It was a
is that what-
shift.
yeah, man. I don't
For
know
me.
what it was.
Yeah.
But that we're like, man, wait, this adult is saying that they're gonna tell me how to play their son in this game, like that.
And
is
never played.
crazy. What? And no, if I have
Yeah,
another
man.
doctor, attorney, or lawyer tell me what offense I should run, okay, man, we going there.
Yeah, that's a whole nother
Do
topic.
your job, we'll do ours.
Yeah.
So what happened that summer? So you said
Yep.
hey, I'm playing varsity. I'm
Yep.
going through the grind. So you get to compete at a high level and practices with these, with grown men essentially.
Yep.
And then you had a little growth spurt, I'm guessing.
Yeah, so that summer, so July, so after it was probably like June, July, I had a big knots on both my knees. I grew 9 inches in 30 days. It was bad.
You said 30 days?
From like June to like July, I grew probably like 9 inches.
What do y'all be doing in Chicago?
No, I don't think it was a
AD
Chicago
stuff.
thing.
No, that's AD too.
I was the same size, bro, for like 3 years. I didn't grow. And then again, I don't know. Like nobody told me about what they call the osteoslaughters and all that. I don't know any of that. I just had big knots on my knees, and I would play in one game, and then I would try to make the same move the next game, and it wasn't working. So during that summer, I wouldn't play Saturdays. I would only play Sundays because my coach was saving me for championship bracket. You know what I mean? But it was that bad. And I don't know at what point I was 5'8", 5'9", but it was within 30 days.
That's wild.
It was crazy. So I had to transform my whole game.
Yeah, so you still had some handle and speed.
Yeah, like my shot changed because
right. Man, I can't imagine.
So from that time, I really had a clip. Like I could shoot the ball well, and when I grew, it was over. I couldn't shoot the 3 well no more. To this day, no more. But
so it really threw your shot off.
Yeah, because I used to shoot it from like the shoulder. You know what I mean? And as I got tall, I was like, I don't need to do that no more. Like it was more fluent. It threw me all off, bro. It's long story. But everything else is the same. Like speed, defense, leadership. I was always a leader. Like that was my biggest attribute. I could run any team.
You had some wisdom, man. I don't know if it's what it is. That's what I'm trying to get to is, man, what gave you this this wisdom as a kid, man? You were saying and you were perceiving different things that kids have no clue about nowadays. Right. Stuff we didn't learn till we're adults. Like I didn't learn till I'm an adult. You kind of understood at a young age, and it's like, man, like that's a gift from God, one, and two, like how was that harvested? Like what helped that grow? What nourished that? God,
I just think, because they used to say, if you want to make God laugh, just tell him what you want to do. Mm-hmm. And I think I neglected it my whole life, really. And again, the moment when I realized, like, yo, like it's deeper than basketball with me. I think I was like 12 and we were going to Florida, and my parents didn't have the money. And I was in church. My dad, like, was, he was doing his thing, and he's like, I want you to pray for my son. I don't have the money, but I think God's gonna make a way to make him go on this trip. And it's crazy. Lady prayed for me, and somebody like gave the money for me to go. Mm. It wasn't enough though, so my grandmother used the rest of the money from the gas bill for me to go. Like things like that. And again, I just always saw stuff different, and like I learned from that moment, like, yo, if you really want to do something, pray about it, you know what I mean? Stay faithful, and it'll happen. Yep. So I never took no. To this day, I don't take no for an answer. I'm going to find a way to do it because I did it at 11, 12, 13. So it come from God, bro. Like, at the end of the day, I don't think it's nothing in me. I I think even when I was in church and I was thinking about my game, when I get out, I was still listening. You know what I'm saying? I was still gravitating to what was being said. I was paying attention to the drug dealers. I was paying attention to the lawyers and the doctors. And I took a bit out of everybody. And I just, God, I mean, it's God, bro. I don't know what's in me, but I'm different.
That's why God is who he is. You can't explain it sometimes. It's that is just him. So no, that's super dope. So, all right. So this summer you grow. Is this the same summer where you hit where your mom passed?
Yep.
So,
so we were in Vegas, and we had just finished playing. I remember this first time seeing Michael Conley, OJ Mayo, Bill Walker, like you know what I mean? Like we were playing some guys. And we just lost in Vegas.
This is big time?
Greg Oden. Yep.
Big time.
And I think at the time, I don't know if it was big time or main event, but it was one of them, right? And I want to say the main event. And we lost in like the semis or something. I had a great showing, bro. Like I was killing. First time I ever talked to a college coach, right? I was a freshman. And I get off the plane, and my brother, again, may he rest in peace, but he picked me up. And at the time, I was separated from my mom. So my mom was like back and forth on drugs, trying to get her life together, you know what I mean? And so my grandmother adopted us. But right from the plane, I was like, I want to go to mommy crib. Like, I want to go see mom. I want to tell her what I just did, you know what I'm saying? And knocked on the door, boom, boom, boom. Nobody answered. My brother like, come on, man, it's 11 o'clock at night. Like, we'll come back in the morning. I'm like, nah, I don't like being told no. Boom, boom, boom. She didn't answer. So we go home to my home was my grandmother's crib, but it's 3 minutes away. So I go to sleep, I wake up literally the next morning. I got a phone call from a girl in my neighborhood. It was like, yo, she crying hysterically. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, how did you even get my number? You know what I'm saying? And I'm the one to answer the phone. And she was like, the ambulance is saying your mom just died. And I'm like, damn. Now, I don't believe her. I run, she 3 minutes away.
Right.
And I saw them like take my mom on a stretcher, and my little brother was there, and that's when it was like, damn, like I just was saying how great things were going.
Yeah.
And then I get that call that morning. So I think, and I remember this date, bro, it was like August 6th. We just got back from Vegas. And I probably didn't go outside for like 3 weeks. I didn't know what to do. Right. Because even though she was going through her stuff, she was like my biggest fan, you know what I'm saying? So she was the person that I can kind of, she didn't know basketball, but I could talk to her and she would give me this look like she's really interested. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And nobody else gave me that. And that was like a crucial part. That was a crucial time. Because even at that time, if you remember And1, it was real big. So if you really do some research, you will see me in like the And1 mixtapes.
Which one?
All of them. So I got every And1 jersey signed by Hot Sauce, AO, Professor, like all of those guys. Like I had the tour bus in our hood. Wow. You know what I'm saying? Like that stuff people don't know. That's another gem I just gave you. But I had so much good stuff going on. You know what I'm saying? Like I was on a show and everything. But it was a rule like I couldn't get any money or nothing like that because I was playing basketball. Right. Or I couldn't have college eligibility. But it was a lot of things that I had going on for me. And I gave it all up, bro. Like
You just stopped.
I just stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I can't imagine that feeling of the super high.
Yeah. And then the super low.
Like even though this is a big part of our life, it is still not a life, right? Nah. And so nothing is like, suffering and feeling, mourning that. And so what, like you said, you're a thinker.
Yeah.
So you had these 3 weeks to yourself to what am I going to do? And so what would you tell little DT now, starting like the day that happened, what to do? You know what I mean? What's the advice you would give to yourself now knowing everything?
Nothing.
Yeah.
I think I handled it the right way.
And how was that?
Just, though I thought I was stopping or quitting, I really was just taking time to myself, right? So like, again, by you asking me that, I'm like, mental health. Right at that time, they were like, oh, he got anxiety or whatever. And it's like, I probably did. But I knew that I wasn't the best version of myself. So I didn't want to be around nobody. Because even if you meant good to me, I understand how you feel. No, you don't.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if there's anything I could do, well, why you didn't say that before? So that's how I articulated things. So I just distanced myself. I just needed my time. And I don't live with regrets. So I wouldn't tell myself anything. I would say you did the right thing.
You grieved.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't do that.
Yep.
So I'm a person who don't do that.
Yep.
Like literally, probably a year and a half ago, I was running I run one event a year,
Right.
one real event with my showcase.
Yep.
And my grandmother passed that morning. And I'm like, the show must go on. Like, that's what I'm thinking is like, I have to be here for all these people.
For sure.
When I'm dying. I'm dying on
But
the
you can't
inside.
show them you dying.
Nah, I mean, I broke down 2 or 3 times actually, but not in front of everybody.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
I couldn't. The strength that I wanted the kids to see was like, hey, life happens.
Right.
You still got to be you.
Right.
And it wasn't until probably months later
Right.
that I actually had time. It was until her service.
Right.
Where I actually like grieved, where I
Right.
actually cried, where I
Right.
actually spoke how I felt.
Right.
And it was like 8 or 9 months later because some random stuff. But
Right.
man, I actually respect that grief. Like you actually took your time and grieved.
Yeah.
And I'm sure just because of who you are, how did you come out of that after those 3 weeks? What was that like?
So after everybody was trying to get me to come out the house and go play, and like I didn't touch a basketball, bro. So first of all, that lets you know I didn't touch it, but I didn't want to touch a basketball. And again, I remember this day. My high school coach came to my house, and he was like, "Look, I gotta get you out the house." And he's like, "Just think about what your mom would want for you. You know what I mean? You work so hard, and you got people like me, man, like I'm worried about you." And I'm like, I'm not leaving, like I'm not ready yet. And he's like, well, I'll tell you what, you ain't gotta play. You can sit in the car. I just want you to ride with me. Got in the car.
Yeah.
I ended up actually, you know what I mean? Like he got me. And that's when I said, I came this far, I might as well hoop. You know what I mean? I didn't play though, but at that point I was like ready now, like, okay, like I got to get out of this slump. And so now I actually got something to play for. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like it was, I was doing it for me the whole time. And that was a whole nother level of motivation, but it didn't stop there. Like I think it was it's like November, December, my grandfather died. And then in January, my brother died. So like that was just the base. Dang. You know what I mean? But that was the worst person that I could lose. So then everything else just kind of felt numb. So it started becoming like, this is just my life now. You know what I'm saying? And the best thing that my coach did was like, look, you don't have to come back 100%, but let's just gradually get you back. And when I faced it again, I didn't. It was like, yep, another reason why he not scoring. You know what I mean? Or another reason why I'm gonna be successful, because I gotta do it for them. You know what I mean? So it was one of those moments, man, where like, again, if you go back and say like, what would you do? I wouldn't do nothing different. I think I handled it the best way because it prepared me for when it happened again. And it happened again and again and again, and it kept happening till my adulthood, till today.
Wow. For death to be a normal part of life.
Yeah, it's normal for
hard.
me.
Yeah, like it's hard for some people to grasp, but to see you persevere through it, right, and let people know that, hey, you take it as almost an honor to do it for them after that, and use it in a positive way. So
yeah, that's me, and that's what the game taught us. Is like you could be down 20, but I'm always that coach, and actually tell you like, I'm gonna look at the clock stream. We still got time, and he might be like, I don't know, bro.
I hate this is the worst one. down by 10 or 11 with under a minute left or a minute left,
Yeah,
you could still win that
I'm still
game.
thinking I can win that
I've
game.
won a game like
Yeah.
that. I know I have.
Yeah.
And then, man, it makes me so mad when coaches like, oh, let's put the
Well, the
bench
worst
in.
part is
Like,
when the players are like, it's over. Like, no.
A minute is a long time.
But again, though, I take that back to life. Like, so they probably never faced stuff
Yeah.
where they couldn't get out of. Like, I went through that.
Yeah.
Winning this game is easy. You know what I mean? So my mindset just a little different. Yeah.
Perspective.
Yeah.
How do you? I'm going into coaching now, but it's
Yeah.
okay. How do you get them to have that though? How do you give them enough adversity and controversy to have that mindset to want to run through a wall? Like when I was young, the first death I faced was in 2010.
Right.
I was done hooping at that
Right.
point.
Right.
But there was something about, I guess, competitiveness
Yep.
and just like a sense of urgency to like, I can always win.
Right.
I don't care. Like, I don't take no for an answer.
That's
that kind
me.
of stuff. Like I had that in me,
Yep.
especially on the basketball court
Right,
for sure.
right.
And so I'm like, how do you create? That's what I'm always trying to find out. This kid right here who, lives on the west side, never had a struggle for anything, gets whatever they want. How do I put a chip on his shoulder?
In my early years of coaching, I thought it was like treating them the way I was treated and being tough on them and creating this environment of adversity where it forces them to kind of,
Fight or flight.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in my early stages, it actually worked because it was around that time where basketball was transitioning. And I think the answer now that I would give is I don't know if you can. And most people be like, no, like your culture is your culture. No, it is. But the problem is when I play like that for my coach, it wasn't just a 2-hour, 3-hour, 4-hour thing. It was a lifestyle. Like I didn't have a parent or somebody else that would disagree. Like for example, my first time a coach hit me, like it wasn't like abusive, but it was like, wake up. And I looked at him like, yo, like my mama always told me, you hit me, I'm gonna hit you back, right? But then I knew I couldn't hit him back.
Right.
He done a lot for me. So I went home, I was like, Mom, coach hit me in the chest. And she said, what you do?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, no, it don't matter. Like
Right.
And she like, so you mean to tell me that, what you want me to do? Call the police? You want me to call him in and understand that he's done this for you and this family? It had nothing to do with money or nothing, but it's like opportunity that he gave me. And she's like, you don't think he love you? I'm like, yeah. She said, so why you telling me? I look at him as like your dad. Do that now.
Oh, no.
You know what I mean? So I realized that it was a time.
Yeah.
It was my environment, not only my neighborhood, but I had big brothers that would beat me up, and I had another brother that just wasn't good, but he was bigger than me, so he would post me up. It's those things.
Yeah.
And I just think now, like if you even say aggression or toughness, we use compete now. Like we don't even use because my definition is different. You know what I'm saying? So I just think the culture of it, we don't have to change, but we got to adjust. So do I think that we could reach this generation to be that way? I think some, but I think most, we just got to teach and kind of put in them as much as we can.
Yeah.
And just, we left our mark.
Yeah. I always try, it's almost a mental game, like a psychology game for me. I like literally try to find what makes you tick.
Yeah, I do that.
Yeah, and I just pick on it
Yeah, I
like
do that.
until, and I do it in front of the parents too.
Right.
And I let them say, hey,
Right.
they need to get mentally tough.
Right.
And because I think our parents know that these kids are spoiled.
Yeah.
Because what created, this is the big thing, whatever created the parent who's super successful to be that way is usually because they came up in a way that was very adverse and odds against them, and they overcame it. And these kids are coming to these environments where they don't have to do that. I'm like, I have to create that. If you want him to have any chance to really, really do something with this game, I got to create that chip. Like, let me be the bad guy.
Right.
You have to let me I don't hit kids, but let me be the
Right.
aggressor.
Right.
What's the word that you just used? Be competitive with
Right,
him type
right,
of thing.
right.
And so, and then I think time.
Right.
And so in core, we have them every day for an hour and a half.
Right.
And so, and when we do our pickup games, there's no refs.
No, I seen a little bit of what y'all doing. I love it, bro.
Yeah, it's straight up the park. When on Fridays, they literally line up on the sideline. You pick your teams, winner court, loser court,
Right.
and you call your own fouls, but they better be fouls.
I mean
it helps.
Well, kids don't do that enough.
No, they
Kids
don't.
Everything for them is instruction. So even if you try to do that now, they're gonna look at the coach or look at their parent.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I think that's the piece where I'm saying, like, when you look at how I grew up, I had no choice but to be tough. I had to grow up fast. So even if I look at my son, like, he's in the ropes now. I took him to Chicago for the first. He cried before he played, and I think my son tough, but he's not used to that environment.
Yeah.
And so are these kids, and so it's kind of tough for us to say no. Be tough when they're going home and they got marble floors.
Yeah.
It's a little different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's also a reason why parents bring their kids to us.
Yes.
Like, it's not because I'm gonna be honest. Like, I think I run a great program and we have a great thing going, but some parents want what we offer because they don't know how to do it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So you get something,
Or they don't want to do
or
it.
they don't want to do it.
That means they don't.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Like, they don't want to do it, and we're the bad cops.
Yep.
But eventually, we become their best friends. That's the best part about it.
Yes. No, we really establish a relationship
Yeah.
and mentor and get to guide them. So,
Yep.
absolutely. All right. So, thank you for sharing all that, man.
no
I
doubt.
really appreciate it. Going into your sophomore year now, rough times, but what happens on the basketball court? What does that turn you into?
I was angry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna be honest, I was angry. My temper was a little different. And then I was struggling with, I was getting all of this glory before all of this. And that's when life changed for me. So I went from being like the promising athlete to like the ultimate winner and role player. Because I just didn't know how to, I came back from it, but I just wasn't the same. You know what I'm saying? So at that moment, I had to readjust. I just grew 8 inches, 9 inches. And then my sophomore year, it's like I had to deal with what I just went through, 3 deaths, and then I just grew 8 or 9 inches. So it took me like a year to figure that out. So now I'm the backup point guard on varsity, stuff's still going well, but I'm hurting, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, that's when the adult me started coming out, right? Like those particular moments forced me to look at this a little different because this is just your journey. You know what I'm saying? And I was still playing on some of the best AAU teams, and I was still known in my neighborhood, but I was dealing with some stuff inside, bro, that it just, I didn't know at the time, but I was just still angry.
Yeah.
And at that point, I think I was scared to continue to get the gratification because the people that I wanted to see it couldn't see it.
Man.
And that's me articulating it as an adult now, you know what I mean? And that's when I became no matter what, I want to be successful. So it went from I'm going to the NBA to no, I just want to really be successful because I got to get out of Chicago. I knew it at my sophomore year. So that was the rebirth of me being like a young man.
Man, your documentary gonna be crazy.
That's why
I've seen it all.
That's why I'm watching what I say. You gonna get a little bit.
Gonna be crazy.
Yeah, that's why I'm watching what I say. No, but I'm giving you a little jewels with some stuff I never said.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. This is it's just amazing to see, and it's so cool when we could sit there and reflect on what we were doing when we were younger.
For sure.
Understanding then what we felt and seeing it now.
Yep.
And being able to, like you said, articulate it exactly what you were feeling, the anger that you were feeling from, what you had to go through. So, so sophomore year, you embraced being a role player. And did that bring you success?
It did.
How so?
I started playing the game different. You know what I mean? So you talking about a kid, again, I played in the actual N1 game. I used to when
What was your name on the thing?
The Confuser. But I was so young, you would just see me on there dribbling and stuff. Like it was no like direct thing about me. But if you go back and you look at some of the ESPN, I'm in the locker room. Like I'm in there with Escalade while he getting dressed. You know what I mean? Like I was a little kid. But I mean, I still say I'm probably top 5 in handles in Chicago. Like I really had a handle. You know what I'm saying? And I played the game in a way to like showboat, but I was trying to like destroy you.
I gotta ask, you or Jerome, who had the better handles? I'm trying to start mess.
I think his is faster.
Okay.
I think when it come to like combinations and like the speed of the ball, I'm gonna go me.
Got you. Okay.
But his handle is because he got more power in his handle.
Got you.
Mine is like faster. Mine is like doo-doo. His is, you know what I mean? It's more loose, but it's power. It depends on who you ask.
I'm gonna ask Jerome. That's what I'm gonna ask you and Jerome. That's it.
But we competitors, it's me.
Right.
And then he gonna tell you he has the better handle. That's just what it is. But it's all love. That's a brother. That's my brother. Yeah.
All right. So you embrace this role. You start playing the game different, being fitting holes, right? And being in a place to where you can just contribute, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
And so and that helps you.
100%.
And so these kids need to know that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think everybody wants to be the man, especially when they're good in middle school. I deal with this so much, dealing with these top middle school kids. I've literally had the #1 middle school kid almost like for 4 or 5 years. Some of them don't even play basketball anymore.
For sure.
And I'm always telling them, like, hey, it resets in high school. This is cool. It's dope that you highly ranked in middle school. But I need you to start doing this high school stuff and start learning how to play without the ball in your hands, learning how to set screens, play defense, all that little stuff so you can survive. And then when they hit high school and they go to the Mission League and they go to these top schools, yes, I'm talking about you when y'all hear me.
Right.
It's
right.
yo, I told you so.
Right.
I told you to think about the rest of the game.
Right.
You can get back to being the man, but it takes time.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if you're gonna lead to the segment, but that led to like my junior year of I figured it out. Right. So again, like 6th grade through 8th grade, I mean, there was games I had 51, 47, like buckets. And not only that, like I guarded. You know what I'm saying? And again, my high school team, we were good, man. Like Chris Singletary was our point guard. He was 6'5", like 225.
Yeah. Tennessee, yeah. No
so
way.
Chris went to Kent State.
Okay.
Right, big guard, man. He was an ultimate competitor.
That's wild.
Yeah, like, but he
back then,
big
too,
though.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's when I went, I'm not gonna be a scorer. It's different now, cause they got him to do that, and he's 6'5". You know what I'm saying? What? And this goes back to when Jamal said, if they're paying Allen Iverson, like, how can I impact the game my way? Yeah. And so I'm like, I already transformed everything. Like, I might as well start now. And now I took pride junior years, like, yo, I'm guarding D Rose, I'm guarding Sharon, I'm guarding Pat Bev. Like, that's my assignment. I probably led, and I played in the Red West. That's like the toughest conference in the world. Maybe not now, it's a lot changed, but back then, every night we played against a Division I guard. And I'm talking about Power 5 guard, not Chicago State. No knock to Chicago State or UIC.
MVP guards.
We talking about like All-American guards.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And those are my assignments. So now, instead of me averaging, I had 32 and 11 assists and 5 rebounds, like that's not my stat, that's not my role no more. It was, I'm guarding that guy, and my goal was to take 5 charges a game. I averaged 3 charges a game. Like little things, you know what I mean? Like, I became like a pass first guard now. So on our team, we had one of the best shooters, and we had 2 big men that was 6'9", 6'10". So everything for me was a paint touch and a lob or a paint touch and a kick. And I mastered that, bro. And then I started getting that gratification of, bro, you a winner. Versus like, oh, you cold, you going to the NBA. It's like, no, he's a winner and he's a leader. And I embrace that. And so at that moment, like my junior year is when I go, though, if I go play college, they going to come and get me because I'm a general.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I take pride on the defensive end. Now, did I take pride before? Not like how I'm doing now. I just transferred into the ultimate role player winner. I just wanted to win. And I wanted to be a part of something special. So my junior year is when I figured out who I really was and what I was aiming for.
Yep. Defining that role.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the most important part of this is defining the role for the kids because everybody wants to be Steph Curry, Jason Tatum. And that's only like 1% of the 1% who are like that. And
Might be less than that.
Right. You know
what I mean?
Fill your role.
Yeah.
Find the role that you can be great at and that you can complement other people.
Right.
And even in high school, that's how colleges find you. They're not, when colleges come to recruit you, they already know you can go. They're not there because they heard about you at some point. So that's why they're there. They're seeing if you do all the intangibles.
Yep.
Because like you said, when you go to those high level places, there's I got my score.
Yep.
Like, you average 30 at 5'8".
I mean,
he averaged 30 at 6'5".
Right.
Like you said.
They're going to get the 6'5" guy.
Like, why? I would if you're smart about it.
Right.
And so being able to really look yourself in the mirror and say, hey, what do I do good?
Yep.
And so I like to ask these questions, say, hey, and you can answer these questions for me because it'll lead right to it because it's going to lead back to what you're saying is that, hey, when you go play pickup ball, what does everybody know that you can do?
I'm going to get everybody involved.
You're going to get everybody involved.
I'm going to get everybody involved, and I'm going to make everybody play hard.
Okay, what do your teammates think about your game? What do they say your best attribute is?
It depends on what teammate and when.
High school, junior year.
Oh, I was a winner. They'll tell you I'm a winner.
You're a winner. And why? What skill led to you winning?
I was willing to do all the little things that didn't add up that wasn't recorded in the stat sheet, but I made all those winning plays. So I took pride in that. You know what I mean? So I give an example. We playing D Rose junior year. I mean, I hit the floater to put us up one, but the coach called times out, and I'm like, yo, I gotta guard. Like, I gotta guard him. And then I go, no, actually no, don't, because he's gonna go at me. I'll play help side. I'm gonna take the charge. That's how I articulated the game.
Man.
So if you ask my teammates, I'm a winner. I was like, nah, put me on the weak side, and I know what they're gonna run. I'm gonna step up and take the charge. And it happened just like that.
And y'all beat Derrick Rose.
And we beat him. And I did it. If you go into the comments of my picture, I went to the newspaper. I was talking trash.
As you should.
As I should.
As you should. What?
And next game, he had like 37. Yeah, like 37, like as he should.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like he was a different type of talent. But yeah, man, those are the kind of things where like I didn't celebrate. So go back to the story. I hit the floater to put us up one with like 13 seconds left. I never celebrated.
Right.
I ran to my coach and I immediately went to the next assignment. Like, we got to stop him because he's that good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so that was me. It was not about me in that moment. I just hit the game winner or I just hit that shot. It wasn't about me. I was like, yo, if we want to win, which Darius Stowers, that was our other guard, like put him on him and I'll be on the weak side. And we won the game.
Love it.
We ain't beat him no more after that, though.
37.
Yeah, 37. Yeah.
And then so my last question is, what does basketball say you are? What role does basketball itself?
If I'm gonna talk my stuff, I'm gonna say a pioneer. Where I've touched the game at so many levels and I've touched so many people. And I think there's gonna be a lot of people when it's all said and done with me where I changed their lives, but I wasn't loud about it. Yeah. And I think when people say a pioneer of the game, they wouldn't say that they were a pioneer of the game. Other people will. So I would never say like, oh, I'm a pioneer, but I think if the game really sit back and look at what I did, I was a pioneer. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. And all of that, that's your role, right?
Yeah.
With those answering those questions leads to who you are, and that's who you are.
Yeah.
And if kids are honest about those answers,
Yep.
not who they think they are, not
Right.
who their parents think they are,
Right.
but the people around them, and what this orange ball allows you to
Right.
do with it,
Right.
you know, that's who you are in this game. it helps
And
you
then
define who you are.
sometimes when you say who you are in this game, when you think about certain people, like when you think of Michael Jordan and all of these greats, it's like they inspire other people to be them or better.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what I mean about being a pioneer. Like, I didn't make it to the NBA, man. Like, you know what I mean? Actually, to be honest, I wasn't even I was a Division I player, but I didn't play Division I basketball.
Mm-hmm.
But I've helped a lot of kids get there.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I don't care about the credit. I do it because I know what it takes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know where I lack, but I also know where it was a strength. And my strength, or even if it was a weakness, is not a weakness now. And I get to flood that to a kid. So it's like I help kind of mold a lot of kids to be different if they didn't meet me.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, man, that was your calling, man. You could see it at a young age.
Yeah.
It's like you're about to be impactful to the people around you.
For sure.
Because they saw something in you.
For sure.
And so, no, that's dope. Yeah. All right, so junior year, you figured it out. You take the charge on Derrick Rose, get a dub. He drops 37 on you. What happens? What happens senior year? What happens in the AAU between junior and senior year? I'm sure there's some exciting things that.
Man, you hit some stuff, dog.
Yeah, let's get it.
I broke both of my wrists.
Woo.
My junior year.
How?
So we were playing at the time it was called Attack, Tim Grover's gym.
Oh, yep. And
we were playing in like a summer league, and we're playing. I can't remember who we were playing, but this guy, he's really good. He ended up, I want to say he actually ended up getting shot or something like. But he was really good, and he was guarding me. I think I scored a couple times. He actually picked me at half court, and it's a pride thing. Nobody taking the ball from me. You know what I mean? Like, if I turn it over, it's because I saw something that you didn't see. That's, you know what I'm saying? He took it from me. And I was so embarrassed, bro. Like, he took like 2 dribbles, and you know that gathered dribble where you about to try to dunk it? Mm-hmm. I watched him take that gathered dribble. I'm like, not today. Like, you're not about to steal it and dunk. Not happening. So he goes up, I went up with him. Now, he like 6'2", 6'3".
So were you bouncy?
I was athletic.
Okay.
I was athletic. Am I right? Right. I wasn't like windmilling at the time. I mean, I started getting really athletic in college.
Okay.
But at the time, like, I could grab the rim, and you know what I mean.
Okay.
I could dunk it, but it's maybe 3 out of 10 times. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And he went up, bro, and I'm like, no, sir. I jumped with him. I didn't think twice. I got the block.
Oh. Okay.
But I was so high. My adrenaline was so high. I fell on both wrists. So I broke one, and I fractured the other. And I actually still tried to play. Because I'm different. I'm wired different. Coach like, sub, I'm like, I'm not coming out. You know what I mean? He like, DT, sub. I'm like, I'm not coming out. And my coach know me. So he put the sub back, and I tried to dribble the ball. I got the inbound, like, it was over. Yeah, so my junior year, I didn't even get to play AAU.
Dang.
So it was like, again, go back to what I said, like, you want to make God laugh, you tell him.
Right.
Tell him what you trying to do. And the whole time, I think I was still aiming to play and to be this certain player. And it's like every time I was getting over something else happened. And so I didn't play. I ended up getting a job at Foot Locker. My high school coach got me a job at Foot Locker. And I mean, you led to this question. Like, my senior year, it was like, man, I really got through all of this, and I'm still with my boys. And it's my senior year. It's my going away party. I actually got back to myself. So I started scoring it more. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was back.
Yeah.
And Jacob Pullen, D. Rose, Dimitri McHenry, Evan Turner, like all them, my guys, like, but that was my class. And I had some really good games where I showed I was the old guy, and then I had games where I was just the winner. But it was just so much going on, man, that I actually took pride in the new me. Like I would have those games where I had 18 but that was just a good game. And I knew that. So at that moment, man, I actually started preparing for the business side of the sport. But that was in the back of my head. The front of my brain is like, nah, I'm gonna play college basketball. Sure. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna let this be my tool. And I knew that my senior year. It was like, I'm not going to Kentucky. I'm not going to Duke.
Right.
So it's just me processing it. Like, your chances of making it to the NBA as a player is going to be tough. Your chances of making it, though, you stack them up against anybody, you're going to be good. And my senior year is when I realized that.
That's dope. That's dope. So, senior season, how did recruiting go? And what was that like? Your whole the college experience, trying to get into it.
It was crazy because again, like I had those moments where I was like, damn, it was in my hands, and now it's different. Like at that point, the only college I think I even talked to was like University of Illinois at Chicago, Wisconsin. But it was like, yo, we really like you, but we got this guard, he's 6'3", 6'4", you know what I mean? And it's like, I'm hearing that. And I remember to this day, like, I ended up going to Kentucky State. And it was one of those moves, man, where I did it because I just wanted to be the first one on my team to know where I was going. You know what I'm saying? Like, I went through so much, man, I was just like, I just want to know what I'm doing. At that point, it could have been a Division III. Like, I just wanted to know that come August, you're leaving Chicago. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I did. And I ended up going there, and probably like a couple weeks being there as an athlete, I knew it wasn't gonna work out for me because I still love the game so much, and I felt like I wasn't gonna get it there, which brought me here. And that was crazy. I ended up coming to play for another coach, right? And you know how you in college and you're like, yeah, I'm in Fullerton. It's like near Orange County, and I ended up, I'm a winner, and I'm always thinking about how can I help other people. I was that way at that age too. And my man's Donnie, we call him Donnie. Donnie was athletic. He would 360 windmill and flip flops. Yeah, this is no joke.
I believe it.
You know what I'm saying? And
there ain't no reason to make up a story. Somebody 360 women on flip-flops.
When I got this call from this coach, like, yo, California, I'm thinking Hollywood, red carpet. I don't even know California got a hood like that. I'm just thinking, yo, I get far away. Like, I get to go far away. And I'm like, coach, I got another guy in my neighborhood. Like, I think, you know what I'm saying? You should look at him. I ended up bringing him with me.
Okay.
So as I'm talking to my family, he's talking to his. He finds out that he has a cousin that coaches college. So again, I won't even say names. I don't want to get. So we're not happy where we are, right?
This is at Kentucky.
Nah, we're in California now. I'm not gonna mention.
I'm gonna just Google it. Go ahead and tell me.
So we were at Fullerton.
Okay, Fullerton. Okay.
Right, and it was a cool situation, but we just found out that there's family from Donnie that lives here.
Got it. So
we committed though, like this tough. He told us we were gonna have this and that, and it wasn't, whatever. And we ended up going to an open gym, just a hoop, because this man never seen his little cousin play, and we turned the gym out. Darren Collison was there, like all of these IE dudes. Like RCC was like the hub to go to in the summer for open gyms. Yep. And we went and killed that. Like, we turned it out. So to play that, shut the gym down, like, I got a steal. I did a crazy, like, fancy move, put the ball between my legs and threw Donnie an alley-oop. And he caught it and dunked it with two hands. And at that point, the coach was like, look, what's up? Like, what we gotta make some moves. And we ended up transferring to Riverside, and we actually ended up winning it that following year. We had a crazy team. We had like 7 guys that bounced back from universities, like Division I's or Division II's. So we were really, really good. And again, I came in, coach was very, very high on me, very high on me. But there was another guard, Danny Redmond, Cole. Yeah. He was really good, and he knew how to play in the system. I never really played in structure like that. And again, I still embraced it because it was a challenge. But Danny Redmond was like 6'3", could shoot the three, court vision out this world, played with a great pace. He was cold. Never got rattled, so that was our starting point guard. Then Lawrence Eto'o, which was Darren Collison's best friend, and L do a lot of stuff with the NBA now. Like, he knew the system. I was transferring in. So we had 3 really good guards. And if you know, you're not playing all 3.
Right.
And went back to what I prepared myself for my freshman year. So I sat a lot. But if you ask coaches John Smith, I prepared Danny and L. Like, I took pride in that. Like, bro, I'm going to make life living hell for you in practice. So when we go to the game, nothing's unfamiliar. And again, I started processing stuff, bro. I was actually preparing. I just wanted to get my degree and wanted to go as far as I could take it, but I knew I was just going to be what I'm doing now. I knew that, but you would come to my practice and you would never think that.
Right. Do you ever think, because I do with this too, me and you are similar in the way, like, we like to kind of be in the background. Like, we like to support other people's dreams and raise people up. And it's probably a couple years ago where I had to really sit back and think, like, am I shortchanging myself? Does that thought ever hit you? Because it hits me for real. Like, am I shortchanging myself? That I can help make all these other people good and great. Like, can I be this great at whatever I want to do?
So I have that thought, but mine's a little deeper. It's because I'm so modest and I'm not beating my chest. I'm a very confident person, though, so it's kind of contradicting. I only think I shortchange myself because not only do I want to put others before me, but because I really don't sit back and really brag about what I've done or kids I've helped or what I've accomplished. Because when I accomplish it, I'm trying to do something else.
Yep.
So that's where I think I don't have them moments enough where it's like, no. I did that. But I also think that that's what makes us who we are too.
Yeah.
Right? Well, we might not be in that limelight where we belong, but the real know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's why you sitting here today.
Yeah, like the real know.
Like we've heard great things about each other, so it's like, oh yeah, I'll do that. So,
and I don't think that's something I would want to change, to be honest, because I think even if I get placed in that limelight, that could be scary because I'm gonna show you actually how to move and still be successful without doing that. You know what I'm saying? And I think, growing up, I was always told if you really want to know how good you are or how great of a person you are, other people would tell that better than you.
Yep, 100%.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I had to ask because that's I think about it.
Like, I do too.
And I'm just, but I love where I'm at. Like,
for sure.
Like, and my people know that. Like,
for
I
sure.
want y'all to, like, I've had people who are literally, I'm telling your business. Karina, like a year ago now, started doing all this, helping me with all this, and literally told me the people that she wanted to work for, and now she works for them. And I ain't talking about like the homie down the street, like some NBA legends.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's because I was like, oh, bet I know the connection. I can get you there.
Right.
And that is the most satisfying thing, is to be able to help somebody else get to their dreams while building mine. Like, I'm still building mine at the same time, but it's it feels so selfless. Right. I hope it's selfless.
I wish I knew how to switch the camera, Karina. I would switch the camera.
Karina, put yourself in the shot.
You
turn red.
You are the value, and even though he's on camera, like, you doing all the stuff behind the scenes, and that's what I told you about X. It's like he do all the things that most people be like, hey, D, we want to, hey, you doing a great, and I'm like, nah, man, I got great people around me. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And my success comes from when he elevates. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember when I met you, you were here, and to watch you be here, it's like, I feel that, you know what I mean? And it ain't about me. Yeah. But somebody like him, he gonna say like, nah, bro, he helped me do this. And I get more satisfaction out of that than my own.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? So shout out to you.
Shout out to y'all, man.
Shout out to X.
That's what I'm talking about. So from RCC, what was next?
So at that point, I ended up having a son. And again, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like when I was done RCC, I was getting recruited by Cal State LA, CBU. This was before CBU was a Division I, but I was getting recruited by a lot of California schools. And my son was born, and I made a man decision. You know what I mean? I was in a relationship, and I knew it wasn't gonna be what I envisioned of. You know, being married and having kids and raising a family. I knew that it wasn't gonna be that, because I was either gonna chase my dreams and miss out on my sons, or I make the man decision and I put him first, and that's what I did. I put him first. I started over. Like I started over, bro. Like again, I'm giving you gems. So again, that my college relationship at the time didn't work out, and we're great now. Like it's cool, but I ended up moving all of my stuff from we had a crib, and I moved in with one of my teammates' sisters.
That's interesting.
And it could be, but my teammate lived there too, though. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And so again, shout out where my camera is. This one.
That's you.
Kiana, shout out to you, because I was broken at that time again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And she took me in, bro, and didn't really ask for nothing. She just like, yo, if you can, throw me something here and there, and never put pressure on me. And she had little kids too. So I had to raise my son in that environment. And the time he's like 6 months, I had a teammate from RCC that got into real estate. So he ended up getting me like a little condo in the Riverside area. And he's like, bro, I know you trying to get back on your feet. Like, just pay me this.
Wow, man.
And again, it's just, I planted seeds my whole life. Yeah. I was a winner. So I wanted him to do well, and I helped him in certain situations. And after that, man, I got a job working for the county of Riverside. And it was actually a great job for someone my age. But I wasn't making great money. Like, if I'm being honest, I was making less than 30 grand a year. You know what I'm saying? With a son.
Yeah.
And
in California.
So it was expensive. And so to fast forward, like, I was there for 4 years, but after like 2 years, I'm like, yo, I walk in every day and I just feel like I'm just wasting my time. Like and I worked in the Department of Mental Health. But I got a skill, man. Like I know the game. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I know how to reach people. I know how to train. I knew I had all these skills, and I had so much to get a game. And I remember this like it was yesterday, man. My wife now, we were dating, and she's like, and I came home and I told her, I'm like, when you go to work, do your stomach start hurting like right when you walk in, or do you feel like a gray cloud? She's like, nah. Well, at that time she was making 6 figures for a major company. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I said, well, I do. I just don't feel like I'm living my purpose. You know what I mean? So she's like, well, I'm going to introduce you to my Uncle Charles. He actually got a travel ball team in Moreno Valley. I'm like, yeah, I want to do that. Get there, long story short, I get there. They all love me.
What team was it?
It was the Tar Heels.
Man, I thought so. I played on Norco.
Right, you from that area, right.
Yeah, I was
so
like,
it was the Tar Heels. Yeah.
Yep.
So Charles Matthews, man, was like an older cat who had it years ago. And then here I come, I was young with flavor. I've always, you know what I mean, Jordans. I dress a certain way, and the kids gravitated to me, the parents gravitated to me, and before you know it, I got that question like, do you train?
Boom.
And this is why I lied. I never trained in my life. But even at RCC, I used to run the camps for RCC. You know what I mean? I have experience. I've showed people how to do a certain move, but I never trained. Like, are you a trainer? And I remember answering this question like, yep.
I did too.
I was like, yeah, I train. They like, how much you charge? And I got to think quick about, I never thought about this. I was like $20 bucks an hour. You know what I'm saying? And at that time, I'm getting gyms because I'm in Riverside. Like, people know who I am, and so I'm accessible. My first day, I had 3 kids. Second day I had 7. Then after the next week I had 14. And I was like, oh, this is really a thing. So now you taking a 20, I'm like 21, 22. I'm making like cash money in 1 hour, what it takes me a week to make. And that's when I went home to my wife. I said, listen, and I love it. Like I could really be in the gym all day. I said, listen, I think I'm about to do something really crazy. And all I want to know is you won't let me hit rock bottom. You know what I mean? And I'm blessed, bro. She was making great money, but she used to always make me pay 50% of the bills, which I always hated, but that helped me too.
Right.
You know what I mean? And she's like, look, as long as you got a plan. I'm like, bet. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm like, I can't quit my job yet because I gotta let these people in the IE know who I am. Now, this is a mistake that I think I made, but I wouldn't change it for none in the world. I wasn't trying to be friends with nobody. I had a goal, and I needed to prove to my woman, I'm really good at what I do. You know what I'm saying? And I was unapologetic, and I wasn't the most social, and I'm still not. I wanted to be the best version of me. I wanted to do some things in this area that was never done. That's just what I said for myself. And there's people that was already here, like the Inland Force, Tony Walker, like Bill Walker, like Keith Howard, like all these dudes, Kool-Aid, like all these dudes were, that's what I heard when I was here. But I was like, nah, I want to make them respect me. You know what I'm saying? So I started training, dog, and it just took off. And I remember, I'm doing all this great stuff in the Inland Empire, and these parents and kids are going home to a 3-car garage, 2-car garage. I haven't done nothing for my city. And I called Jabari and Sonny. Like, yo, I want to put on a free camp in Chicago. And they naming all these places. I'm like, nah. I want to do it in the park that I grew up in. And I don't care what happens. It might get shot up. I don't know what's going to happen, but that's what I want to do. And Sonny like, what you need from me? I said, I don't want to charge. Just like that. And he's like, well, say no more. What you need from me? And at this time, Jabari with the Milwaukee Bucks. And he's like, I'll get sponsors. I'll get T-shirts. I'll get all the equipment. You just show up. And I went to Chicago. I did this camp. Long story short, it was 125 kids. And I gave 5 awards away to the most influential people in my life. And at this time, this is the first time I've been back to Chicago since I cut my hair and I transformed into a man. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm DaShawn. I'm not DT. I have the braids. You know what I'm saying? Allen Iverson. Yeah. All that. And I got on a plane, bro, and this is when I said, no, this is what I want to do. Because in that gym, I gave 5 awards away. I gave one to my high school coach. I gave one to Don Starks. I gave one to Sonny. I gave one to my grandmother. And I want to say I gave one to Jamal. And I just explained to everybody there that the person y'all looking at, like, I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for them. Well, Don came to me, he called me like 2 weeks later and told me that was the best award he ever got because he was dying of cancer. You know what I'm saying? And I said, Coach, well, if you about to go, I had a question for you, like, because I trust your judgment. Like, I'm thinking about quitting my job. And I want to do what you did for me. I want to do it full time. He was like, I knew you were going to do that. I was like, really? He was like, yeah, the moment I met you, you had a light about you. Then I called Sonny, like, hey, Sonny, this might sound crazy, but I think I want to just quit my job, man. And he was like, oh, if anybody could do it, you could do it. And that's when I was like, yo. So I get on a plane, and I'm like, I'm about to create my whole business plan.
How important is it that your mentors supported your vision?
I don't think I would have did it. I wouldn't have done it. And obviously, again, my girlfriend at the time, but my wife was the first person that made me think that I could do it. Outside of me. It was like, yo, she said if I just have a plan. You know what I'm saying? And so I got on this plane, and I literally just told X on the way here, it's 2 places where when I go, and I can cook up. The plane and anywhere by water. And I was on a plane, and I'm writing down some stuff like, yo, if I create a team, like, it got to be the Bulls colors. Like, I'm about to show you how I even created Dtermined. I'm like, it got to be the Bulls colors, white, black, and red. I knew that I didn't want it to be like the Riverside Dinosaurs or the Riverside, you know what I mean? Or the Riverside Tigers. I didn't want that.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a mascot. I wanted something where it's like, it's meaningful. And so I'm in the air and I'm writing down the colors, I'm writing down, and it hit me. When my mom died, I don't know when this was, but it was in school. And I went to school, and the teacher told us, if you could describe yourself in one word, what would it be? And at 16, my word was determined. But I spelled it how it is in the dictionary. You know what I mean? And I was like, man, what I'm a name? You know what? And I just started writing the word determined. And then I looked at it, and I was like, oh, wow, if I take the E out, it's my initials. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, I'm on to something. I wrote it down, boom. That's my company name. So I got off the plane. I went on to my wife like, look, I think I'm about to put my 2 weeks in. You know what I'm saying? Like, I went to my manager at the time. I'm like, hey, thank you for the opportunity. I had a speech. I was in the mirror like, hey, this is what you gonna say. I was like, thank you for the opportunity. But I've decided to explore on my calling and passion. And I was supposed to say more than that. But when I said that, she said, I knew this was coming. And I looked at her like, what? She's like, anytime you talked about kids, and when you talked about basketball, you kind of like lit up. And we started watching what you were doing, and I knew that day was gonna come. Wow. And then she said, but I need one favor though. You're putting your 2 weeks in, can you give me she asked me to do 30 days. And I was like, I could do that. Just team player winner, I could do that. I was like, but I'm gonna start this process. Yeah. So just start looking to replace me.
Like, place that
I'm out. Yeah, I'm out. And bro, I literally took off with exactly what I wrote on the paper. And I did a tryout. We had 98 kids come.
Whoa.
How? I just was always placed in situations where I didn't understand, and until I got there. So again, I was working with the Tar Heels. I ended up leaving that situation. It just didn't work out. Mm-hmm. And then I went to another program, that Players Edge. Okay, yeah. I worked with the owner of that, and that story was crazy because I was all in with them. I loved everything that was going on, but it was like financial hardships, and found out they were losing.
They had a facility, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, no, running a basketball facility.
You know what I mean? So they had a facility, and I found out like that they were losing it. And one of the owners are like, yo, we need to get behind him. You know what I'm saying? And he got something different. And just those people that seeing what I was doing, it was genuine, it was authentic. And I started my program. So that year, everything just kind of happened where you look at all the kids that I was training, all the families I touched. I never contacted them to say, yo, I'm starting a team, you should come play for me. We just went on social media, said, huge announcement, we're having a tryout. Boom. Boom. And from there, we took off.
Man. Very similar story, except for mine was opposite. I got fired from my job.
Oh, wow.
And I started training 2 weeks later.
Yeah, so mine was the other way. I was training while I was there. So I would leave work at 6, and I would go train from like 6 to 9 every day. Man. You know what I mean? I did that for like 2 years, and I'm like, yo, I love this. I could do this every day.
It's so crazy. The parallels. So I stopped playing in junior college. Yep. I didn't play after that. Yep. Same thing. Yep. And my wife was my motivator. I just had got married. I got fired from my job. Yep. A few months after we got married. Yep. Started training, same thing. 4 clients turned to 20, turned to 40, turned to 60 in a year. And I'm like, oh, I don't need no job.
And I learned I'm sure like if you like me, I learned as I went. Like,
yeah, oh, no. I started out outside in Porter Ranch, Cessna Park, in the hot sun, going to people's houses, got a client in Calabasas.
That's crazy.
And said, hey, tell all your friends I train.
Right.
And boom, explode. And then got to a certain level. I started renting space. in somebody's strength and conditioning facility
Right.
outside, and
crazy.
then boom, I didn't start the team, so all I did was train though, because I stayed away. I've been like Switzerland. I've never done a club team.
Right.
I'm lying. I did a club team, but I never coached a club
Right.
team. And then I finally got a facility, and so
That's crazy.
we're like a spot, and
Yeah.
I got a deal. The outgoing CEO literally was like, "Todd, today's my last day. Let me lock you into this contract so they can't never kick you out."
So same. It was like the same type of. It was like, yo, look, we're like, it's not going well. You know what I mean? It's kind of on a decline. Let's go ahead and put you in this space, so that no matter what, you're good. And it was like, and again, I still didn't understand what was happening.
Yeah.
I was just happy to
get that space.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, lock me in.
and yeah, like it happened like that, man. Like that's crazy. Like wow.
Wow. So Determined has started. You
Yeah.
have the epiphany and the moment. You got the support from everybody who you need the support from, and is successful right away. How did it grow? That's 2015.
That was 2015.
2015, all that
Yep.
happened. So now, what is Determined Athletics?
Is not what so I knew what it was gonna be, but I actually started Determined Athletics to be like an event. Like if you would like Determined Athletics to me was gonna be like events, tournaments, camps, and Team Determined was gonna be the team stuff. What happened is Team Determined like it overexceeded, and now Determined to me is like it's the foundation. It's the foundation of the kids that were like me that think they love it. They don't even know if they love it or not, and we get to touch them to either show them why you don't love it yet because you're not willing to do what it takes, or we enhance the love because we're gonna show you what it takes. You know what I'm saying? And it kind of changed because we built this from 8, 9, and 10-year-olds. And what happened is all those 8, 9, and 10-year-olds, they're now in college. And so what happened is we were planting these seeds and we were doing it genuinely, like just out of love. And then we got to a space where now high school, I got to make a decision. I was only doing 8th grade on down, right? And then you know this, like, again, you got like Compton Magic who does a great job. You know, Ato built, what he's done is, I don't know if it could be duplicated, right? And if you do it or exceed it, and if you do it, like that's gonna take a lot. Ron Silver, you know what I mean? At the time you had Cal Supreme, you had all of these shoe teams, and the frustrating part was we would put all of this work in. And then once we get to 8th grade, it's like, D, we love you and we respect everything, but we want to go on the circuit. You know what I'm saying? And that's when I realized, like, oh man, I put all this work in. Yeah, y'all got to be loyal. Like, you got to, these things that I am, these parents are not. And do I blame them? I actually don't, because they went to a bigger platform. You know what I mean? And now when you ask me that, it's like, now we're not just building the foundation. We actually now in a space where we can help service elite level all the way down. And so even, I mean, similar to you, like now I'm working with some pros and I'm doing some stuff in different countries, and it's like Determined helped me grow DaShawn Thomas. Because DaShawn Thomas is selfless. Determined was so loud and successful, and it was a movement that it pushed me to a higher thing. So it's like Determined to me, like now is like opportunity for anybody. And it doesn't matter if you play rugby. Like, we're gonna show you the other things. We may not show you how to play rugby because I don't know how to do that, but there's a set of skills that we all have that's the face of Determined that can help you be whatever you want to be. And it ain't just basketball.
I love that. I love that. And so Determined now offers services for any age kid for basketball, teams at every level. What else? Am I missing anything?
I mean, you said it. I mean, we've been invited to speak to certain kids. We've been invited to to go into certain classrooms or even certain homes to help that challenge, whether it's behavior or grades or mental health, whatever that is. And it's like, I started taking pride in being one of the best teams in California and building this thing, but like now I take pride in just the relationships that is built and the other little things that you won't see on camera, like feeding the homeless. And like our program is doing that kind of stuff, and it probably would never get the credit,
Right.
but those people know how much we've impacted their lives. So it's like I said, I think when I look at it now, it's like opportunity for anything. It's not just athletics.
Oh, I mean, this is the show where you talk about those things because this is part of this, is highlighting what you're doing for the community. So, like you say, you're community service, so out feeding the homeless and working with mental health and what other types of programs do you guys have that are not
we do
basketball?
I mean, X probably, you know, I mean, we do.
We can invite X on probably right now.
Yeah.
X. So yeah, I'm going to invite Xavier Spells, who is DT's right-hand man and helps run Determined Athletics, on here and just kind of give you a overview of everything they do. So X, come on, man.
I'm Xavier Spells. I'm the director of Team Determined. I've been with the program for almost the entire 9 years. I think I came halfway through the first year. Wasn't planning on dealing with kids at all. My buddy was actually in my position with DaShawn. He would, I'm gonna say, beg me. He's gonna say otherwise, but I feel like he begged me to come check his kids out. And I'm like, I don't feel like dealing with snotty nose little kids crying and whining and parents. But just since I've been with the program, it's been phenomenal. We do things like canned food drives, like DaShawn mentioned. Like, we're disciplinarians. So if parents have a problem with their kids at school, at home, they know between one of us it's gonna be ugly.
Explain ugly. No, so there's consequences for their actions, and you guys there's accountability outside the home.
Most definitely, and like he said, a lot of things come full circle. So we've had some of our premier 6th, 7th, 8th graders that we've been talking to countless times over and over, just kind of explaining to them how life is going to be. And then they'll come back to us in high school and they're like, Coach,
that's exactly
you
what
guys are right. They come to us with, eyes full of tears and trying to figure it out and still seeking help. And those are just the relationships that we've built, that we try to help them become either young men or young women, because we have had a STEM where we had a girls program, and we still have those relationships today. But I'm going to say he's a little crazier than I am. If you check his practices out, like last night, he has 9 and 10-year-olds doing bear crawls.
What I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking. I'm sending my kids. She only 4.
And that's a testament to him trying to, or implementing that culture of toughness, because we do know that our kids come from different backgrounds. So we try to reach each kid in whatever way possible, whether it be for basketball, whether it be just in life in general. If he'll give kids the shoes. People say that I'll give you the shoes off my feet and clothes off my back. I've literally witnessed him give kids shoes off of his feet, and he's in the gym barefoot with just his socks on. So we try to just have an impact on their lives to prepare them for what's to come outside of basketball. Obviously, basketball is our platform that we use to help them navigate life. And I think we do a pretty good job of that, not to really toot our own horn, but like you said, the relationships that we've built with the kids and with the parents and with the families in their communities, we get invited to, and I try to make sure that we do a good job of it. If it's going to school awards, they play the piano, we go to the recitals. If they're in a play, we try to go to their play, because we get it. Everybody's not going to be a basketball player. Some of these kids are going to be doctors. Some of them are going to be coaches. Some of them will be lawyers. They'll have other adventures that they're going to explore. So we try to make sure that we do our part in helping them by being supportive and allowing them to reach their potential as human beings. So I think the program has done a pretty good job of that. If we watch over the last couple of years, our young women and our young men are flourishing in life. And if they ever need any help, they reach out to us. They'll create group chats. They're like, "Oh, Coach, man, you guys worked us a lot harder than our high schools."
man, that's what it's about.
I know you get that.
I tell them, like, especially like I'm preparing you for the highest level, because I don't know what school you're gonna go to,
right?
True.
And so you got to be ready for that,
right?
And that's right. What I think that's what basketball is all about, is preparing you for the bigger part of life. And it's so dope that you guys have a community, and I think people have teams. Y'all got a community,
for sure.
Like you said, and that's what And that's what this is all about.
Yep.
Is creating community for people to have a safe haven, an escape like we had growing up. And even if they're privileged and they got all the money and get whatever they want, they still need the support system. And I think that's what's important. And the kids who don't have, we could be that support system. And it doesn't have a gender, a race, religion. That we can just love on people, and that's true religion, right? Love God, love people.
And so, that's our mission statement. Actually, is utilizing, basically teaching life lessons through the game of basketball, and it led to elite level basketball and getting some of the top talent. But my thing was, I was big on like, yo, we're gonna turn this basketball into a globe because it happened for me. You know what I'm saying? So when you think of like most people, man, when they start programs, it's probably because their son was in it. You know what I'm saying? Or they had a bad experience with a coach and they like, you know, I'm going to do it myself. Well, mine was like, yo, I know what the game did for me and I want to give that back to the game. And this was before my son and any of that, you know what I'm saying? And now I actually get to reap the benefits to say, all right, now my son is involved. But yeah, that was the whole thing. And I knew I wanted to surround myself with people that thought like that. Like if you had a really good childhood, I probably would look at you a little funny. I want to be around people that know how to deal with adversity. You know what I'm saying? Because being an athlete, injuries, life, school, man, it's a lot. And I tell parents this all the time. Like, you get out here and play in front of your peers and play for me as a coach, and you do that. You try to make it seem like it's easy. It's actually really, really hard.
Hey, I'm with a core parent versus determined parent game. We should get a crack.
Man, they won't finish that game.
That'd be fun. I'm with it.
They won't, and the kids coach.
The kids coach. Oh man, and they be in the crowd.
Yeah, and like funny. You know, stuff like that, man. Is you know, it's like you said, the ultimate like praise for me is like, yo, you prepare my son or daughter for this. And I think the hardest part is like, we've touched so many that it's just hard for us to be there for every single person.
Right.
But we think about it all the time. But it's like, as we get one out and one is doing their thing and they're in college, we're already thinking about the next group that's up. But what we're big on is like, we know that we've left an imprint on them that's going to be there forever.
Yeah, you planted a seed. And
for sure.
That with one person plants the seed, the other does the water,
for sure.
God does the growing. So
for sure.
That's it.
And I'm gonna give my credit, man. And like I said, I think a lot of people are understanding who he is now, and man, a lot of our success, man, and it's him and his others, right? But he's helped elevate me. He's helped elevate the program, and there's a lot of kids that are there because of him. You know what I mean? And I'm okay with that. Just like how I'm gonna use basketball to teach life lessons. If I have to go through him to teach that, I'll do that too, because it was never about me. And I honestly started getting to the space of kind of tooting my horn and kind of feeling like I belong because of them. Like, nah, D, like, you're doing the same thing. Like, no. You have, and I'm like, you know what? I do. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the confidence I do have, man, it just really comes from people that believe in me. And that's why any chance I get, man, like, I'm not by myself. Like, Dtermined is not here just me. Dtermined is here based on my story, but the success of it is a lot of people that put a lot of countless time and hours and volunteer work in to help us succeed.
Volunteer work.
And to kind of just piggyback on what he said, he makes it easy to kind of like follow suit and follow lead and tag team a lot of the things that we do, because like we have a relationship and a rapport where I can hold him accountable, he can hold me accountable, and it's never no personal feelings. We can have conversations where if I'm wrong, he'll let me know, and I don't feel no type of ill will about it, because at the end of the day, our ultimate goal is to not only help each other grow, but to help those around us grow, whether it be an adult, whether it be a child. We know that we are here to really serve our purpose. And while we're helping each other and we're brothers in this field and off the court, like, we understand that what we're here to do for the kids and kind of play our role and help them to grow and help them develop. And to see that flourish over the last few years has definitely been something that has been amazing. I always tell parents in the program. Like, it's not about usually what they do on the floor. Yeah, we want to see that stuff because we prepare for that. But to see them navigate life and to become better people and to use manners, which is like obsolete now, it's beautiful to watch the maturation of the youth and the kids that we touch and the kids that we grow and the kids that'll DM us or message us that we've never even coached. To kind of just say, hey, I saw that word or that message that you guys posted or that video, and it's what I needed. So it's those things for us that probably feel the best.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And that's just real quick, basketball background. So did you hooped yourself? And
I did. So my high school experience, we were awful.
Where'd you go? You got to let us know now.
Mr. Lago in Moreno Valley.
Okay, Mo Valley, okay.
Yeah, so after that, went to junior college. I played for Quincy Brewer at San Bernardino. That's part of the reason why they have that championship in junior college, because Brewer gave John the game tape, the team that we lost to, and it was triple overtime.
I hear excuses.
Game tape is that's par for the course. You're supposed to get game film.
I hear
Call me what
excuses.
you think. And then I finished up at La Sierra University.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a decent experience. It was culture shock because obviously it's an event in school. So I was actually on campus, like hiding my Jack in the Box in my backpack because there's no meat. Like, y'all don't serve meat. So I'm like, it's like against the rules. I don't know anything.
That's interesting. Parents know everything about the school before you go there.
Right.
Take notes.
Right.
Definitely true. But it was the same thing like how he got to RCC. I just went to an open gym, played well, and then coach was like, oh, well, you have to get to the school. And then that was actually a pretty good experience in itself. And I don't think even without that, like, I think everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
We don't cross paths and run into each other. And so,
shout out Tommy Denson.
yo, most definitely.
we all know. So
that guy put me through some crazy work, guys.
Yeah. Real good dude, man.
Yeah.
Really good dude.
now his pops his pops was like my trainer growing up. So I know what work. The hills and the see. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
His brother.
Tim is a monster.
Was frying us in New Balances before New Balance was even
Right.
Yes. Yeah, Tim is a monster. What is there anything that the people can expect from Determined in 2024?
Man, I mean, I'm gonna say we're always striving to be better than we were last year, so we're gonna be better than 2023. There's a lot of stuff that is happening right now. What to expect is we're striving to be the best we can be, man. Once we accomplish something, we're trying to be better than that. And so though we're in a competitive field, and I think it's the hardest thing to do is to kind of show love and respect everybody that do what they do. Like, T, if we're playing you, I'm coming. Like I'm trying to beat you by 40. You know what I mean? And I expect you to do the same. But sometimes people could take that personal, but I really enjoy what you've done. I really admire what you do. You know what I'm saying? What I would say is, like, for us this year, it's not about being better than a team. We're trying to be better than us. Like, we're our competition. So I think that's our philosophy. And in a couple months, you guys will kind of see what we're talking about. We got a few things that we'll be announcing in a couple weeks, and we're really, really excited. One of the things I want to talk about is we were selected to play on the Nike EYBL Champions League, which, again, most people would look at that and say, well, that's the second you're not fully sponsored. Or I'm grateful, because if anybody could take that platform and turn it into what we want to turn it into, it's me. You know what I mean? And so that's something that I'm actually proud about, and I'm wearing that. I'm wearing that patch like I created that. You know what I mean? Because in my mind, I want to show you that we can start here and where we can end up. So in 2024, that's a real goal of mine. I'm appreciative for Nike to think of our program and look at our hard work and what we done and consider us for that league. But understand that, we got bigger goals. Yeah.
I agree. I think he's pretty much done a good job of saying all of that. I'm really excited for our spring and our summer on the Nike circuit. We talk about it all the time. We're trying to build something. I can't even put a word on it, but we're talking every day.
Yep.
Like we're locked into elevating the program. And like you mentioned, just being better than we were last year. We want to be better than we were the previous month or the previous week. We're always trying to figure out ways where we can gain an advantage or be better or help our kids be better. So really for 2024, I would just say stay tuned.
All right, back to regular schedule programming, man. Thank you, man. I'm looking forward to seeing what y'all gonna do, man, and learning more about the program. X, thank you, man, for sharing with us. I do want to hop into the CP3, the combine, and being the director of it. How that opportunity come about, and what. Just talk about it. Yeah.
I think it was actually the same way that you approached me. Like, yo, I heard a lot about you. You know what I mean? I want to get to know you. And it was the same way with CP3. I believe back in like I could never get this year right. It might be 2017. Mm-hmm. You mentioned Sky Clark. Yeah. Shout out to Sky Clark and his family, man. Really good people.
Yep.
I believe he was in the 7th or 8th grade. So whenever that was is when my first
year, he was 7th grade when he had the flat top.
Yep.
7th.
Yep. So whatever year that was my first camp with CP3, and I got the call from my guy Jeff Becker out in Arizona, and I don't remember if somebody filled out a nomination, because with CP3 you have to fill out a nomination as a player or a coach, right? And I don't remember if I filled it out or if someone filled it out for me. That part I don't remember. But I remember Jeff calling me and like, yo, how you doing? I'm Jeff Becker. He was the lead instructor. And so, he basically told me, what the CP3 camp was about, what they were trying to do and what they were looking for. And some way, somehow my name came up and they're coming to the West Coast and heard about the program. They heard about me and I went. Honestly, I went to be a trainer, right? And obviously I flourished in that, right? And so I'm the type of person, T, like if I come to core, I might not even wear a Determined shirt. Like if you invite me to a camp, I'm wearing your stuff. You know what I'm saying? So that mentality, I'm a winner. I'm a team player. I'm a role guy. Yeah. And I went to the camp, man. It was a great camp. And obviously they're like, yo, you did a great job. We want to invite you to Rising Stars. So Rising Stars is, you go there like that's the best of the best kids in the country, some of the best coaches. And so I was selected to do that. And I remember this, I was on a plane, my flight got rescheduled 3 times. It was a snowstorm. And they were like, hey, you're not gonna get to Charlotte until 12 midnight. And I'm like, it doesn't matter, I have to go. I already gave them my word, right? But I missed Friday. Right, so I get to Charlotte. I have to drive an hour to like Winston-Salem. The only people that are in the gym are the directors, the guys that run the whole event. And I called them like, yo, I just landed. Where are you guys at? They're like, we're still at the gym, but you could go to the hotel. I'm like, no, I've already missed Friday, so I'll just come and help y'all out. Now, I don't have any motives, man. I'm just being me. Yeah. And so I get there. I'm helping them break stuff down. We don't leave the gym till like 3 a.m. I wake up, I do my thing at camp. And I think it was like a year later or months later, I got a lot of people like, yo, when is CP3 coming back to the West Coast? And at that time, they didn't tell me that they were even coming back. And so I went to them like, yo, it's a lot of people that really love that camp and we need to bring it back. And the second time we brought it back, we did it at Academy USA, right? And so that was the first time where at that moment they were increasing my role.
That's when I met you. You were with Chris. I remember that because I trained Chris that summer with Brian. And so that's where I met you. There it goes.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So at that point we were having conversations like, D, you're really good. We love your energy. We love this. We love that. We're trying to figure out where where you fit with us. And we had one of our directors lost his mom. It was like 2 days before camp or something like that. I know that feeling. And so I watched him like run around like a chicken with his head cut off, and I went to him, brought him behind closed doors. I said, listen, you know, when you probably don't want to hear, I know how you feel. He was like, no. I said, but I'm going to say this. I lost my mom at 15, and you're trying to show strength, you're hurting the camp. I was young, and I told this man this. I was like, you're hurting the camp because you need to have your moment. What do you need from me? He was like, man, we got to get this, we got to get that, we got to get, and I was like, I got it. Camp's over, had a great camp. I got a call like 3 days later. Like, D, what you did, you helped that camp. You saved that camp. And we want to offer you this position. And we want to invite you to be one of the directors of the West Coast and also the CP3 Middle School Combine. And I'm going to be honest, man, like that, the relationship amongst us, it was something I never seen before. It was everything that I stand for in the camp. It wasn't about the Sky Clarks it was like, no, it was a family. And from that moment, I don't think I've ever worked another camp since, outside of something that is mine. And I'm very grateful for the CP3 family too, man, because that's opened a lot of doors for me as well.
Yeah, no, I heard, so Brandon Kennard works with Johnny.
Yep.
And so he works
Good
for me at
dude.
Core, he works for me at Core.
Good dude.
And so he tells me, he's like, no, this camp is legit, because, you know, I get the text, hey, do you want to coach? And Brandon's like, Todd, you old now, dog. He said, man, we be on the court for 10 hours, like nonstop. You are coaching. I don't even know if you going to eat, but you ain't going to eat. And so I, that's probably because of you. And so you don't let nobody eat. But
no, we got one lunch break. But you can have snacks and all that. But again, it's like we're really trying to give these kids an experience, man. You know what I'm saying? And we all take pride in that. And Brandon was in the trenches with us, man. And
he told me,
but it's a 10-hour day for sure.
Man, that's beautiful. Man. So we're going to just move to the next segment of our show, man. Thank you for everything, man. Just sharing your story or some of your story, man. I feel like I'm giving you. I'm gonna see this in the movie theater somewhere one day. But my Rushmore. Okay, so we're gonna go your top 4 point guards, NBA all time. All right, not NBA, all time.
4,
no order. Your top 4.
Allen Iverson. I'm gonna throw this Pistol Pete. I was a Pistol Pete fan.
That's it.
So I used to watch his tapes. I'm gonna go Chris Paul.
That's it.
And with Chris, most people be like, oh, he's only saying that he's working with. The way he competes is very, very similar to me. So if you're on this team, you like, oh, I love playing with that guy. But if you're not, you hate him. So I'm gonna put CP in there just from like his competitive. And I'm gonna be honest, he changed the game also. Lob City was you know what I mean? That was a thing.
For real.
If I'm going 4th, I'm gonna show love to Chicago because I think if he doesn't get hurt, he's in the GOAT conversation. I'm gonna go with D Rose.
Yeah, I can see.
And I think to know you gotta know to know. And I've watched, we got a lot of history. He was special in like 5th grade. Yeah. You know what I mean? And even watching, if you pay attention to how he's evolved.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going D Rose my 4th for sure. He don't get hurt. He's in the conversation of one of the best to ever touch it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Cold. That's my 4. I'm going AI, Pistol Pete, CP, D Rose.
I got a lot of questions about your 4. I'm gonna give my 4 first because you might have questions about mine. Yeah. So I think I've done this twice. I've probably changed the people twice.
No, it's hard. It's hard to get 4. Because I'm gonna leave this show and I'm gonna say,
yeah. So
I didn't add him.
So if I don't count him as a point guard, but people do. Steph Curry.
It's fair.
Steph Curry, just because of
that means you can shoot it.
Change the game. I'm more. Yes, I can shoot it. All right. Steph Curry. I think he changed the game. I like people who seriously change the game. And Then I'm gonna have to go. People hate me for this one. Steve Nash, man. I think
That's a strong one.
how the point guard plays today, Steve Nash actually was the one who like showed him the way he makes reads, the footwork,
the pick and
the
roll.
detail, the pick and roll reads, his finishing ability,
100%.
His baseline probe. Like Steve Nash, I think really set
give
the
you that.
precedent for how point guards play today. So that's on some basketball stuff for sure. He did not deserve that second MVP. That was supposed to be Kobe's. Third. She's seeing if I'm gonna say the same people I said last time. I believe on that list, J Kidd is on that list, huh? Yeah, J Kidd.
Like J Kidd.
Man, yeah, I just X is hating? Are you hating?
This is a tough question.
it's tough.
So I got J Kidd, just passing ability,
100%.
IQ off the charts, making his teammates better. You can say that about a lot of point guards, but I like J Kidd. And then lastly, who am I forgetting? I'm gonna be mad. 2 Chainz? Who?
No, 2 people.
These are 2 Chainz.
Yeah, Steph Curry wasn't on your
I know, because Steph Curry to me.
He changed the game.
But, I don't necessarily, I consider him a hybrid guard. I'm on my Rashad Phillips stuff. I like how he kind of changed the position.
Sure.
See, he's not a pure point guard. Rajon Rondo. Rajon Rondo.
Do you want to know who you left out this time?
Who? Magic. Okay. Yeah, I knew his Magic would be there. If Steph's not there, Magic. But Rondo. I worked out with Rondo multiple times. The stuff that he taught me were just crazy.
For sure.
How to maneuver your body, the things he sees.
For sure.
I think you actually told me when we were with Tommy how Rondo told you about the corner 3 and how you can tell if a trainer can train or not based on how they move their feet in the corner 3 because it's obviously so small. So
Yep.
You said
wide-based steps. So, stepping sideways into it instead of 1-2 into it. Yep. Nah, man, Rondo.
That's crazy.
And he's like, literally training him is a teaching session for you. That's what it is. And so, love Rondo.
I think most people don't understand that when you train pros, you're not training them.
Oh, no, I'm learning. What?
Yeah.
I'm in there with.
You're not actually training them. You're actually learning from them.
100%.
Because they'll tell you, like, I would never do that, but I'm going to show you how we can incorporate what you're saying into my game.
Yep, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
100%.
You learning, man.
Yep. If you don't watch film and know where their spots are and what they do, they won't work out with you.
100%.
They want you to compete. 100%. They want you to play some defense.
100%.
I'm actually up. Chris Paul knows this. I'm up on Chris Paul 3-2. We did 5 spots. I was defense only. No offense.
Right.
But I got 3 of the 2
it
spots.
don't matter. You a competitor.
So he knows. So whatever you want to go get, Chris.
Right.
Yep. But so, how are you missing on Magic and all these other people?
Well, I was hoping you come back and ask me my whys.
Well, yes, please.
Right.
Please explain.
First of all, asking me about 4 point guards, like you set me up.
Right.
Right. I missed a few people, but I'll tell you one that I missed that's like a strong 4 is Oscar Robertson. Mm-hmm. Right. But again, I have my reasons. So like when I think of AI, the culture, his toughness, you know what I mean? And it's like Steph, like, was he really a point guard?
Right.
Right? But he was unapologetic. And he was who he is. And he wasn't going to change. And that made him who he is today. Yeah. Right? When I go Pistol Pete, it was his creativity for me. Where he was so fundamentally sound, but everything he did was similar to Magic. But it was like flashy. Mm-hmm. And I picked him because it was a lot like the passes with the elbow. Like I tried all of these things and I just couldn't do it. And it made me go back and watch his film and study him and how he worked out and how he saw the game. That's why I picked him. And like I said, I gave you CPs. It's like his competitiveness. Like for me, man, I've actually had fights with my best friends. Right. You know what I mean? I actually don't play pickup today because if I'm playing you, like you're gonna want to fight me. You know what I'm saying? Like when I look at Chris, that's Chris. And then like D Rose is just what he did at that position with his athletic ability. And he did it in a very modest way. And again, if you don't know D Rose, he don't want the limelight. He don't want, I mean, he barely on social media. Like, he did everything gracefully.
Yeah.
And I think he did it his way. You know what I'm saying? And that's my forward. Like, each one of those guards, you know, when you think of Magic and all that just wasn't my game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't 6'8", so I can't relate. But if you know what I mean? But I love Magic also. Like, everybody on your list, like, it's not a bad list. You put them up 4-on-4. I don't know who wins that game, or I don't know. Like, you know, but everything for me is, like, meaningful. It's not a matter of, like, who's my best four. It's like, these are all four people that kind of relate to me in my own way.
And that's why it's called My Rushmore.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I love
for
that,
sure.
Man. Nah, that's dope. So our next segment is called Fix the Net. Okay, so this is where any misconception about DT that you want to get straight for the people. So
I just dunk it in there.
you tell us the misconception and what the truth is, and you fix the net. You're telling people that this is the truth.
How many do I have?
As many as you want. Go ahead. Just go.
I think one of the biggest misconceptions of me, obviously I moved from Chicago to California, and I think the people that's watching the success of what I do or what I'm doing and what I'm gonna do, a lot of them don't really know what I had to go through to get here. They really don't understand, like, how much I've struggled, how much I cried, how much I second guessed myself, how much I felt like I wasn't deserving or I wasn't worth it, or they only see, like, the success. And I think most people would probably think I grew up in a 2-parent home, and I probably grew up in a suburb of Chicago again, because I don't really tell my story as much. But to know me is to know me. That's a big misconception. I don't think people really understand my past on how I got here.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Man.
Scored it.
Yes, buckets.
I got another one, though. Fixing that. Yeah, I told you.
Put the net the other way. Let's go.
I like this one. The biggest misconception of me is, I've heard it, where, like, I'm arrogant, conceited, self-centered, all of these things, and it's really because, if I go back to my first thing, like, I know what I went through to get here, and I do feel like I belong because of, I feel like most people couldn't walk in my shoes, and so I do walk with this confidence, and I do speak with a confidence, and at some point that might come across as arrogant because I do know my value and I do know my worth, but I'm one of the most, like, selfless people. I would literally give you my last and start over so you won't have to feel what I felt before. And I think that's part of the game where they say, like, don't care what people think about you.
Yeah.
That's one that hurt me every time. Because anything I do, I'm always thinking about, how does that affect somebody else, or what does that do for somebody else? But I also know that sometimes you got to be a little cocky and a little arrogant, because if you're not, they won't believe in you. So for me, that's probably the biggest misconception when I hear that, oh, he's arrogant, oh, he's not approachable. I'm just so passionate about what I'm doing that I really don't care to make friends. I want to help success stories. So that's my biggest one, I would say. And I dunk that, or
Please.
I might stand up.
Don't knock it off the wall. He knocked the screws off the board.
Hey, we gonna fix it like we fixed everything.
There
else.
we go. We good.
No,
I just want to encourage you, man, because the parallels to how we see things and just life are crazy. I do, I'm from the suburbs, though. Like, the things that you grew up with are, you know, my traumatic experiences was my cousins picking on me and calling me white boy and all these kinds of stuff. Like, I have that, but the parallel of the arrogance and I learned this, and Chris Johnson, one of my mentors, he tells me a lot.
Goat.
Yeah, Chris is that dude, man. And he tells me a lot. People, you raise yourself to a certain level, the people who are going to understand you are those people who are on that level.
Facts.
The people who are below that level have a problem understanding who you are.
For sure.
And there's usually projecting an insecurity when they call you things.
Right.
They want to be
Right.
as confident
Right.
as you. They
Right.
want to have the things that you have.
Right.
And so, man, there's this, I don't know if you know, so I listen to a little bit of gospel. It's called Dawkins and Dawkins. I don't know if you heard them. They're like an R&B group, gospel R&B group. You gotta really know them because they're kind of old, but
I'm a Fred Hammond guy though.
yes, yes,
Okay.
see,
Talk to
yeah.
me.
So, hey, check out
Not
Dawkins and
even
Dawkins
Clark
though.
Quinn. That's, you know what I mean?
See, you on the
Okay.
gospel.
Yeah, yeah.
This is like, they're more R&B. They're old though. They were
Okay.
around, like,
Okay.
probably did concerts with them dudes, and they still make music.
Yep.
And they write for R&B singers. And so, but they have a song, it's called Pray For Me. And in that song it's like when I see people and hear people say those things, all I can do is pray for them.
Facts.
That's it. I was like,
Facts.
man, that's their issue.
Yep.
This ain't about me. And you know, I speak in absolutes.
Yep.
Like that's my biggest thing. My
Yep.
wife, like my friends, everybody, like
Yep.
Todd, you're so like, you don't ever think you're wrong. No, I know my truth. I'm willing to listen to anything you tell me. You can tell me anything you want, and I will
sure.
try to understand it. But if it don't make sense, you're wrong.
We
I don't care.
we're a lot alike.
Yo, it's crazy, dog.
We're a lot alike. Yeah.
It's crazy. Like
Yeah.
my wife had to adjust to that.
Right.
When we got married, it was like I was speaking absolutes, and she's sensitive, and so
Right.
she would take it to heart. And I'm like, no.
Right.
I'm just talking. I'm just
Right.
passionate. What I'm
Right.
talking about. It's not a big deal.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
we're just talking about taking the trash out.
Yeah.
Like it's not
yeah,
a big deal.
Yeah. And my wife is the same way. It's like, I think, you know, and again, we've been married over 7 years now, but it's like, I think 6 years. I'm bad with dates.
All right.
But that's something that I think she learned about me too. Like, I just see things differently.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make you right or wrong. I'm just going to see it differently.
Yep.
And what I appreciate her is like, she allowed me to just be in that space.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, she might articulate it one way, I articulated a whole nother, and even act like they all know that I'm just different.
Yeah.
And I mean, and if we talk to your wife again, you might be a little difficult to be around, and you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
that's me. But like, at some point we might need a break from each other just because we see things a little bit different. And what I appreciate about mine is like, she allowed me to have that. Like, the moments where I'm telling you I want to just stare at the ceiling with the lights off and love my kids to death, man. And every time I see them, they motivate me. But it's times where I had them moments where no kids, no phone, no nothing. I'm locked in, and she just give me that space. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm sure if we talk to your wife, like it'll be the same thing. It's like, as much as we're misunderstood, they actually understand us.
Yeah, and she lets that.
most.
That's it. We had to compromise. Like, okay, I got to take my tone down a little bit when I talk about things, and she knows that when I'm talking, I'm just passionate. The other part you just mentioned it too is we were just telling our friend is that like my wife don't even like basketball.
See, mine, you know what I mean? She played.
Yeah, see, my wife she doesn't come to the games. She don't want to. We went to a Laker game the other day, and she likes the production. Ooh, what's the halftime show?
Right.
Like, that's what she doing. I'm like, we talking like Luka is playing right now. Kyrie, like, what are we talking about?
She could be courtside, but she's looking at
we in row 5.
Right.
She did. She was like, "Oh, this is different though, sitting this close." And
Right,
I'm like,
right.
try to enjoy the
For
game.
sure,
And she was
for
like,
sure.
"What's that called when they shoot from that line?" Like, oh, I'm done with you, girl. She was messing with me, but and she plays video games. She's a video gamer. And so, hey, when she's doing that, watching anime and all that stuff, hey, I'm be in the room.
That's different.
But it's us, and that's that space.
Right.
Like you said, we understand each other's space.
Right.
When we come together, man.
See, me and my wife, we actually coach together.
Oh, that's dope.
So
man.
so since I started the program, she's coached every year. And ran my girls chapter for a couple years before COVID.
Man, that's amazing. That's
It's
all
a blessing.
That's all I can say about that.
Because she understands that grind too, though. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And this is the last part. You're the interviewer. I'm the interviewee. 2 questions. Anything in the world.
Well, I gave you a little bit about my path. What was obviously, listening to my story, we talk about like death was like my biggest challenge.
Mm-hmm.
With, you know, what you're doing now, what was the biggest failure that taught you the lesson on what it takes to be successful?
I was too generous. I was paying people too much money. and went into 6 figures of debt doing it in the middle. This is in court. This is 5 years ago.
Yep.
And trying to help people, and 100% my fault, nobody else's fault. And put my family, my wife, just had my daughter. So, yeah, that and $100,000 in debt. And I got big faith. I got like, in the word of God, it says He's our provision. We'll always have shelter. We'll always have food. I've never struggled for a bill, even in that time, because I just knew I was going to be okay, and that my faith is strong in those areas. And I just dug my way out and got out of that debt. And in like 2 years, just dug it out. And this is when my program was we had 72 kids.
Right.
And we dropped down to 33. Dropped down to 33. Boom. Count the revenue. Like, that's revenue gone. And just kept looking forward. But that moment was like that was the summer that I started working with Chris Johnson though. So I was in the gym doing clutches pre-draft. Got in the gym with LeBron. Like, some things were happening that didn't bring any money. You know, we trained NBA players for free.
Right.
You know, it was just like, okay, so there's some movement. And just kept trusting God and just kept building, and like you said, relationships.
For sure.
I just invested into people, and now we at 200 kids.
Right, and that's what I was about to say to you. Like, our story is so similar. Like, a lot of it, most people looking at the dollar signs, it's the seeds that were planted. So when we do hit these rock bottom moments, it was a flower growing that we never even looked at. You know what I mean? So that's my question why I ask people, because a lot of people only talk about success. Like, what was the biggest failure or mistake that you saw where you like, there's no coming out of this?
Yeah.
And you came out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that
all
was
right.
perseverance.
My next question is, can I ask 3?
Sure.
All right. My next question is, when we look at your last 10 years, and we go 5-year increments, right? 5 year, 5 year. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? And so it's a 2-part question for this. Where do you see yourself in 5 years, and what's something that is number 1 on your list to accomplish within that 5 years?
5 years, I see my business. Let me say this. In 5 years, I see myself married for 15 years. So we'll be at 15. So
love it.
That's then, raising the family and all that. Living in Porter Ranch in a house with an ADU that Karina lives in. She wants an ADU for whatever reason in our house. So, and with the business, I'm at a place where core is a ministry for me.
Right.
Like, it's always been a ministry. God gave me the idea for core during the fast.
Yeah.
And it's always been ministry. So I want core to be able to function operationally where I can just serve, where I'm not working, where I can just serve these kids and these families, and it's operating on its own. And I'm starting a consulting business like right now. It's called the Basketball Firm. And so in 5 years, I see that business thriving. And just making an impact on families. Like, it's the same thing. We teach them personal development skills with basketball to show them how to get to success. And so being able to impact by then 1 million people with our program.
That's fair.
Yeah, and probably. Sorry, there's a little more. Sorry, man. I got the vision. And I want to sit courtside at every NBA game. At every NBA arena.
Ooh.
At least once. There you go.
Mine was I wanted to touch each state. I'm gonna add that because that's something. Course out of every arena.
Every NBA arena. When I say court
So that
side,
means you planted a lot of seeds.
they're being planted.
I love it.
Yep.
All right, my last question is, obviously I remember the you know, the DM and the talk, the texting, us back and forth. Based on what you heard over the last, I don't know, we've been 2 hours. What is something that I'll say the most memorable statement or situation that I talked about that you weren't really prepared to hear? and that I told you that's gonna stick.
That Pete Maravich was in your top 4. No, I'm playing. The most memorable. I just see the anointing on your life, man. You're a king, bro. Like when I look at you, there's a crown on your head, and what that usually means is that the impact that you have is for millions of people.
Wow.
And that you've had that since you were born. Like how God brought you through every heartache and pain, but your mindset stayed focused and driven and getting better. That there's been an anointing on you since you were born that I don't even think you're fully aware of. I think you know because it's been there, but I don't think you're fully aware of what that is. And man, God's gonna show you because man, you're doing it. And I think it's to keep you humble at the same time. But there's a bigger calling on your life that you're not even ready for. Like your shoes, you can't walk in those shoes because only God can take you through there. God got to carry you through, if that makes sense. You can't do it. God's going to do it.
So if the camera was on me the whole time, like, wow. So this is crazy. So that's going to be my moment of the interview where I take and I'll never forget. So I think I was like 12 or 13. And so that's like the 5th time I've heard that in my life. The exact way. I'm like, hear me out. The exact words, the exact way, in the exact order. And when I was like 12 or 13, I had remember I was telling you they prayed over me to go to Orlando, and then this particular time, it was like a prophet. And he told me that I'm gonna draw millions of people. And I'm gonna be used for my charisma and all of these things that he said. And because you're gonna be a testament for a lot of people that's scared to share their story, or people don't know that they went through this or that. And it could be women, men, cats, dogs, whatever. And you're gonna be used to be an example for millions. And he kept saying millions. And I'm like 12 or 13, like, what is he talking about? You know what I mean? And to hear that again at 35, it's like, wow. Because as I elevate, I actually go through more stuff. It's not death anymore, but death was the hardest thing. But now it's like every time I climb up, I get knocked down. And maybe that's part of the journey of it never stops. But if you stay, like you said, you keep at it, you keep God first, all of these things, it's like you're going to be an inspiration to millions of people. And the millions of people are going to follow everything you do. And that's crazy you just said that. Wow. I wasn't going to ask you that question.
No, that's why you needed 3.
Wow. That's why I asked for 3.
Yeah, no, hey, there you go,
Wow.
brother. Yeah. Man, my brother.
Wow, you just left me speechless.
Thank
man.
you. Hey.
I appreciate you, man. Like this
Yeah.
was dope. This was therapy for me.
I know, no, that's
sure.
Hey, yes, I did my job. That's what this is supposed to be.
This was therapy, bro.
Okay, awesome. I want to be the basketball Oprah. That's my goal.
For sure.
So, 24-second shot clock. That's your camera. Let the people know where they could find you. And anything you want to let the people know. 24 seconds.
Oh man, 24 seconds. DaShawn Thomas, aka Coach DT. You can find me all over the world. I'm all about helping people, helping kids, helping adults. I'm all about servicing people, helping them accomplish their goals and dreams. So be on the lookout, man, because I'm chasing a million people.
Dope, man. Again, my brother.
Appreciate
Thank
you, dog.
Yes,
This
sir.
was awesome, man.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you.
That's all we got today, folks. We'll see you next time. Peace.